From Wood Forest Bank Stadium in the Woodlands, it's playoff football on the Legacy Sports Network, brought to you by 5 Point Credit Union. It's a 4A area-round matchup between the Nederland Bulldogs and the Pflugerville Connally Cougars. It is our Friday night spotlight game. And hello, everyone. I'm Brett Dolan with Ken Moore. Great to have you with us. Should be a fun night of high school football playoff action. And Ken, in recent weeks, we have been talking about some high-scoring offenses, some great quarterbacks and running backs. I'm thinking we might be talking about defense a little bit tonight.
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. It could be a defensive struggle out here tonight between Nederland and Connally. Connally, question marks at quarterback tonight coming into this ball game. And then we have a little matter of the weather possibly playing a factor here tonight as well. Windy conditions, little precipitation in the air, so we'll see how it plays out this evening.
Well, let's talk about Connally. Their quarterback, Dejon Williams, did not warm up. He may or may not play, and if he doesn't, that could change things dramatically for the Cougars.
Absolutely. For the Cougars, it could change things absolutely dramatically. But you look at them on the year, they gain over 335 yards per game, over 200 on the ground. So they may lean a little bit heavily on that running game tonight, but they'll be going up against a stingy Nederland defense.
Yeah, a defense that has 17 interceptions this year. They've taken 4 back for touchdowns. You know they love to get their hands on an inexperienced quarterback.
Absolutely. They're going to be swarming all over the football tonight. This is a team that's only given up 21 points in the last 4 games combined. Had a tremendous effort last week in their playoff opening win, so it's going to be a struggle here for Connally tonight if they don't have their quarterback at the helm.
Yeah, should be a fun one tonight. It is the Nederland Bulldogs and the Pflugerville Connally Cougars. Kickoff coming up next on the Legacy Sports Network.
Yeah, it's tremendous.
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 Say hello to McDonald's new CBO. Smooth cheddar, crispy bacon, grilled onions on the Angus 3rd Pounder or premium chicken sandwiches. CBO, the simple joy of
Tremendous.
Yeah.
Just about ready for football tonight. An area-round matchup. The Nederland Bulldogs and the Connally Cougars. Their captains out there at midfield waiting for the coin toss. Great crowd here tonight, and decent weather for the time being, though, Ken.
Yeah, absolutely. As we look at the conditions, temperatures in the upper 80s right now. Winds pretty heavy coming out of the north at about 10 to 15 miles per hour. Overcast skies, so we'll see how impactful those wind conditions will be here tonight.
We'll help the teams heading from left to right on your screen here this evening, and now getting word that Dejon Williams will not play. He's wearing his uniform but not in pads. He was not out there warming up, and this was a guy, Ken, we talked about him briefly in the open, but last week before he was concussed in the 3rd quarter, threw for 235 yards, threw for a touchdown, ran for a touchdown. It was Landon Nobles who was out there warming up, and he has not attempted a pass yet this season.
Yeah, a very difficult situation for the young junior quarterback to come into. You talk about Dejon Williams. This is a senior quarterback. Anytime you get to this level of the playoffs and you don't have your leader at the helm, it could cause problems for your offense.
Sometimes with a game-time decision, you hope all week that maybe the individual is able to go, waiting for that last opportunity, knowing that he might not be. And it's kind of an interesting week, though, as far as preparations to begin with, Ken, with that holiday right in the middle of things.
That's always a challenge, especially for the coaches, because it's a very tenuous situation. You want to try to balance that deal of having the family time for the players, but also preparing for a football game. So I'm sure they let the players get their meal time in the evenings, probably had a nice early morning workout yesterday, but now we're about ready for kickoff the day after Thanksgiving out here in the Woodlands.
And you see Connally will kick off. Daniel Portillo is putting balls through the back of the end zone with that 15-mile-an-hour wind behind him in warm-ups. We'll see if he might be able to do things similar here in our opening kickoff tonight.
It's a big-time 4A battle.
Michael Shaw and Zach Taylor, the 2 deep men, hoping for a chance to return for Nederland. It's an area round playoff matchup, and we are underway tonight from the Woodlands. And this kick will indeed sail into the end zone, but Zach Taylor's going to bring it out across the 15 and knock down at the 15-yard line. So maybe not a wise decision to begin things and bring things out, but that is where the Bulldogs will begin.
We'll talk about the quarterback right off the top, and that's going to be Landon Nobles. And he's going to come out. We'll see what he can do. Carson Raines, touchdowns on the season, 17. Look at his rushing yards, 253 yards, passing nearly 1,400 yards, completing nearly 53% of his passes. The senior should be on point this evening.
Yeah, Coach Larry Newman said that Raines maybe had his best game of the season last week in that playoff win against Dayton, a 21-7 victory for the Bulldogs. They begin from their 15-yard line. And the handoff goes to Kendrick Hopkins. He has a first down and more as he takes the ball to the 29-yard line. Hopkins, a man we'll call plenty of times tonight. It was Sanji, the linebacker, on the stop.
Yeah, Hopkins over 1,400 yards on the season, averages nearly 6.5 yards per carry, 13 touchdowns on the year. You'll
Hopkins
see him
with a head of steam.
Yeah, right off the right side, got a good block from his lead blocker, carries it up near the 30-yard line for a first down.
14 yards on the play, so a good beginning for the Bulldogs. 10-1 on this season, coming off that 21-7 win in their playoff game last week. And not much running room there as the ball goes across the 30 in the hands of Hopkins again.
And we're going to take look at the starting lineup for Nederland. We talked about the quarterback Raines, the big running back Hopkins, Barton also in the backfield, the wideout Shaw, Barrow, Kimler, offensive line Bird, Brinkley, Brown, Pryor, and Latias.
And the Bulldogs will be looking at a 2nd and 8. This is the opening drive of this area round playoff matchup. High formation behind Carson Raines. A fake to Hopkins, and Raines with time to throw. And his pass was too tall, intended for his wide receiver, Michael Shaw.
Raines on the season, 13 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and he'll be going up a pretty good defense on the other side of the football for the Cougars. As we take a look at their starting front four, Lee, Nix, Rivera, Atkinson, the linebackers, McMahon, Sanji, Edgar Wanga, and the cornerbacks, Sneed, McDonald, the safeties, Luca, and Adenlikin.
It's a Connally defense that's pitched 3 shutouts this year, also held 3 more teams under 10 points. So they are a stout defense trying to hold here on a 3rd and 8 for the Bulldogs. And Raines might be changing the play. Raines a little rollout playing action. Now may have to throw on the run, and does, and his pass is incomplete. Threw one there on the sidelines intended for Seth Barrow, but nothing doing, and that'll be a 4th down. Brandon Lee there was able to blow that play up.
Yeah, Lee coming with the pressure from his linebacker position, putting the heat on the quarterback, forced him into an errant throw. Nederland will have to kick it away.
So we talked about defense in the open. We might see some stout defensive play tonight. There's a quick force of a punt after that 14-yard play started things, and it'll be Barrow back to punt. He will stand at his 15-yard line. Edric McDonald. Boy, he is a big play man on special teams, hoping to get a chance here, but a low kick, and he's going to stay away. And you watch that bounce inside the 40, and will continue to roll inside the 30. So quite a punt for Barrow. That will be of 39 yards. And now we'll see Connally for the first offensive possession of their night.
Yeah, it didn't look good coming off his foot. That was a quarterback we thought we would see tonight. Dejon Williams, 1,383 yards through the air, 1,800 total, but he's on the sideline tonight in sweats. So we'll see the backup, Landon Nobles.
So Nobles goes under center. And the ball goes right into the hands of Ladadrix Payton, and he'll purge across the 35, push the pile to about the 37-yard line. So Payton has run for more than 900 yards this season. We'll take that snap. Nothing fancy on that first offensive play.
No, not at all. We'll come right back real quick.
Gain of 6. So Peyton is taking snaps, kind of a wildcat formation. Peyton will keep running left across the 40. He's got the first down and more, dragging tacklers inside the 45-yard line. It was Colton Kimmler, a big play safety, who went for a ride on a big run from Peyton.
A tremendous run by Peyton. You'll see him again out of the wildcat formation. Just runs over the left side, got a great block from his left tackle, Austin Brown, and just drags defenders across midfield.
23 yards in the previous play, but he's going backwards here. Ran right into Brock Pryor, one of the 3-year starters on the defensive line for Nederland.
And a fast-paced first quarter right now. You see Deshaun Williams is supposed to be the starter tonight. Peyton and Williams in the backfield. Hill, the tight end. Washington and Brown, a couple of the big offensive linemen up front.
It'll be a 2nd and 11 play for the Cougars. This is their first march, and they're into Nederland territory. And you see Peyton again working from that wildcat. He will give on a quick end around for a few yards right into the hands of Sean Williams, a junior running back. Picked up 3 on the play.
So we wondered in the beginning how Connally would attack with their starting quarterback out. We see it tonight, a steady dose of the wildcat on this opening drive.
For this 3rd and 8, looks like we have an official's whistle, maybe a timeout.
And while we take the timeout, we'll take a look at the Nederland defense. Washington, Malvo, Pryor, and Couron up front. The linebackers, Wood and Stampley in the secondary. Taylor, Shaw, Kimmer, Wiley, and Barrow.
So after an official's timeout, it is 3rd and 8. So you wouldn't imagine Peyton might be throwing the football here. Nobles did not come out after Deshaun Williams unable to play tonight. So the first real passing situation facing the Cougars. Peyton will roll, and not much running room. Still making men miss, but planted for a loss. It was Jordan Wood, another 3-year starter, one of the linebackers up to make that play.
And you saw Peyton that time cocking his arm back as if he looked to throw. Didn't see anyone downfield. Thought better of it. Dropped for a loss. As you see the rollout here, good pursuit that time by Nederland, putting the pressure on, and drops him for a loss.
So Ty Grubb on to punt. Zach Taylor hoping for a chance to return. He's back around his 15-yard line, and the kick will angle right. And Taylor will watch it go out of bounds, and we'll see where the officials mark it. Still running inside the 10 to around, well, now they'll consider. This will probably be around the 15-yard line, and that is where Nederland will have it. So a couple of defensive stands for both teams, and that punt of 29 yards unable to be returned.
And this is a Nederland team in the first round last week, knocked off Dayton 21-7. And this is a team, as we mentioned, they've only given up 21 points in their last 4 ball games. We took a look at some of their key players. The big guy Hopkins to the right, the tailback, 1,466 yards on the season, 13 touchdowns. The quarterback Raines, 13 touchdowns through the air. Shaw, his big play receiver on the outside.
See what the Bulldogs want to do. 1st and 10 from their 15. And the give will go to Hopkins. And he ran into a wall. Nothing doing whatsoever. No gain on the play as he gets up slowly.
Both of these defenses on point to begin this ball game here tonight. Being stingy early on.
You consider this defense for Connally. Last week in that playoff win, 33-8 over Montgomery. It was 33-0 at the half, and the Cougars did not allow Montgomery across the 50-yard line in the first half.
Very, very stingy D.
You see Deshaun Williams not able to play tonight. No gain on that previous play for Nederland, so they'll have a 2nd and 10. Hopkins again, a quick hole. It closes quickly as he picks up a handful of yards on that initial surge. He picks up 5 yards on the play. Edric McDonald from his safety's position came up to make that stop.
Yeah, Hopkins averaging 133 yards per game on the ground this season. He'll get a heavy dose of the Bulldog load here tonight.
Ran for 133 last week in that playoff opener, but he's had some huge games this year. 200 against Livingston earlier this season. Scored 3 touchdowns against Lumberton, 4 touchdowns against Beaumont Central. Running room has been tough, though, so far tonight. 3rd and 5, and we may have another timeout. Indeed we will. Timeout, Nederland. No score. First quarter from the Woodlands.
footage was captured at a local grocery store. This man just took money from his bank that wasn't in his account. Did you catch it? Let's see that again. There, he just got 10 cents back for every $10 or more purchase on his debit card, with cashback counts checking from Community Bank. Imagine a bank that actually pays you to use your debit card. Swipe all you can from your bank. Community Bank of Texas. Bank where you live.
It's light jacket weather tonight. Good old-fashioned defensive playoff game. Nederland and Connally no score in the first quarter. By the way, the winner will get the winner of the Pearland-Dawson-Stratford game next week, and they're involved in a good one. We'll give you an update a little bit later on, but it's a 3rd and 5 for Nederland, trying to move the sticks and stay on the field. And Carson Raines running for his life behind the line of scrimmage. His pass was nearly intercepted on the far sideline. It was knocked down by Cole Sneed. He tried to make a diving effort, but could not get it.
Yeah, good break on the ball by Sneed. You'll see the pressure coming from the outside, forcing the quarterback to roll to his right. Under pressure, ill-advised throw. Good break on it by Sneed. Nearly came up with the pick.
So another punting opportunity here in this game. Seth Barrow to punt. Again, Edric McDonald. He's taken a few back to the house this year. He's standing on the Bulldog side of the 50. So Barrow, a quick low kick. This one's going to bounce, and McDonald has to chase. Went back to get it at the 35. And now he tries to find some running room, and he'll move it across the 40.
Lost
and the
the
football's
football.
loose. And a scrum for the football. We'll see who has it. Looks like Connally got it back. A punt of 45 yards and a fumble, but the Cougar is able to recover.
Wow, that was almost a huge break. They will take over first down at the 40-yard line. Both teams struggling early as we look at the Cougar big-time players on offense. Williams, he was going to be the guy at quarterback, but you look at Peyton to the right, 924 yards on the ground, and he operated most of that first series from the Wildcat.
Now Landon Nobles, the left-handed junior quarterback who has not attempted a pass this season, is working from the spread with 3 wide receivers to his left and Peyton standing immediately to his left. Peyton will get the carry, and he is going backwards. Kobe Kuran, another 3-year starter, able to blow that play up from his defensive tackle position. That's a loss of 3.
Well, one thing, the Cougars are definitely going to have to mix up the offense here a little bit. Nederland's starting to key in on that running game, and it's going to get tighter and tighter.
And we've had a handful of negative plays already. See if this is a passing situation for Nobles yet. 2nd and 13. Bobbled snap, football's loose, and now he's going backwards. All kinds of Bulldogs there to harass. Deshaun Washington, an outstanding defensive end, gets credit for the tackle.
Well, those are the nerves of a young quarterback in a big-time playoff game. Nobles can't handle the snap. Then he compounds it by running the wrong direction. He gets tossed for an 8-yard loss. Now it's 3rd and forever. They have to get all the way to midfield for a first down.
Back-to-back negative plays, so a 3rd and 21 facing this quarterback who is still yet to attempt to pass this season. Now trying to do so in a big play in this area around playoff matchup, and he will give to Peyton right up the middle. Made one man miss, but didn't fool anybody a couple of yards before Caleb Malvo cleaned up with the help of Michael Shaw.
You start to get an idea how Connally may be approaching this football game. Coach McMahon playing it real conservative here early on, trying to win the field position battle as they go back and forth with the punting game.
So Grubb will kick towards Taylor. Remember, the wind is behind Grubb and Connally here in the first quarter. Low snap might be blocked, and it was deflected, I believe. It'll go out of bounds shy of midfield. That ball may have just been tipped. It'll be marked out at the 43-yard line, a punt of 10 yards.
Now that could be a game changer right there as far as momentum and field position, as now Nederland gets to flip the field, as you see coming in. Looks like it was 33 that time.
Stampley.
Yeah, Stampley got a hand on it. So that forces only a 10-yard punt. Nederland now will start in Cougar territory.
Talk about Stalemate. He's had a couple of interceptions this year and taken them both back for touchdowns. That time a deflection for that 10-yard punt. So it brings Raines and company back on the field. Raines 0 for 3 through the air so far. See if he goes to the ground. He will. An inside handoff. Nothing there whatsoever. That play was blown up right at the line of scrimmage, and the ball went into the hands of number 2, Michael Shaw. And it was Daryl Sanji, a Texas State commit, one of their talented linebackers, who made the play.
Yeah, just a little inside trap. Didn't go for much. Actually lost a couple back to the 45. So both defenses playing very strong here in the opening quarter.
There you see Michael Shaw. Got a chance to carry the football after making 31 catches so far this season. Had a couple of touchdowns earlier this year in one game, but now it's a 2nd and 12 for the Bulldogs. Hopkins with a burst up the middle. That football's loose. Picked up by Connally, and they've got it. It was Chris Luca, the safety, able to pick it up and return it for a few yards after Hopkins put the football on the turf.
Let's see if we can pick up what happened here. He's just running right through the line, had a nice gain, and someone just put a hat on a football. Looked like it was number 8 with the big hit that time for Nederland. And that was Whaley with the big hit, causing a fumble.
Edric McDonald might have been involved on that play, so he'll turn the ball back over to Connally. They begin 1st and 10 from their 42. So a lot of punts and now a turnover here in this first quarter as a little bit of fog and haze, maybe some light rain starts to fall, and there's a give right up the middle. Payton is loose, rumbling for a first down and more. LaDadrix Payton able to move the sticks on a burst up the middle, a gain of 13 yards on the play.
And they hustle right back up to the line of scrimmage. Pace is going to be huge for Connally here tonight.
So Nobles will accept the snap. Maybe not. After getting ready, he'll look over to his sideline for a quick play. Nearing the 3-minute mark here of our first quarter. Noble's first throw was deflected into the hands of his own wide receiver.
Wow.
That ball looked like it was batted by one of the Bulldogs first. Landed up in the arms of number 20, Jesse Alexander. Let's see if this was tipped first, Ken.
Yeah, watch this throw. It sails all the way. It is tipped by number 10, Sage Seau, and then right into the hands of the receiver. That pass was so bad it was completed.
And it went for 0 yards. So Nobles gets that first completion. No gain. You see some of the haze, some of the light rain beginning to fall up in our light standards. 2nd and 10 now for the Cougars. Nobles trying to fake out Washington, and he is going down. Deshaun Washington. Great lineage, Ken. His grandfather, Paul, played for the Kansas City Chiefs. His grandfather was Big Paul, 6'7", 300 pounds. His father was Little Paul. He was just 6'5", 245. So you talk about some beef eaters in that family. Deshaun Washington made a nice play for a loss of 10.
Yeah, Mama Bear, Papa Bear, and this big baby bear. Big baby Bulldog making the sack that time.
Big Paul and Little Paul, but it is 3rd and long. And now Nobles, the left-handed quarterback, running left, but he will not throw. He'll keep it instead. Big gainer. Nobles was finally knocked down by Corbin Stampley, but he takes the football to the 40-yard line.
Yeah, 14-yard gain that time. Picking up some nice yardage. Now it'll be decision time for the coaching staff. They're kind of in that no man's land at the 40, but looks like they may bring on the punting unit once again and continue to play the field position game.
You say this, Ken. Daniel Portillo, their kicker, we were watching him warm up today with the wind behind him. He was booting balls through from 55 yards. This would be a little bit beyond that, so they will punt, hoping maybe to angle the ball to the sidelines, and this is shanked out of bounds, and it'll hit one of the fans well out of bounds, so this will not even be inside the 20, and Nederland will have reasonable field position. And I'm still waiting to see where this football is going to be spotted, about the 31.
Yeah, not exactly what the coaching staff was looking for. If you're only going to get a 9-yard punt, you'd be better off going for it. But both teams struggling early on offensively. 3 possessions for each ball club, 2 first downs for Connally, Only one first down for Nederland.
I like it when our storylines in the open live up to their billing. We were talking about defense. We have seen plenty of defense here in this first quarter. See if Carson Rains will get on track for this Nederland team that's 10-1 so far in this season. Continuing a fine campaign. They were 5th-ranked team in 4A in the state final poll, and there's a give right up the middle, maybe a yard or two, and very little running room whatsoever for Kendrick Hopkins. In fact, for Nederland, this is their 13th by-district crown in the 20 years under their coach Larry Newman.
And interesting enough, both of these teams offensively average 335 yards per game total. Both average a little over 200 yards per game on the ground. So very similar in offensive output, both of these ball clubs.
That was the one thing that Nederland was able to do last week against a pretty good Dayton defense. They were able to move the ball on the ground at will. The 2nd and 8 here. The pitch goes to Hopkins, jumped over the first line of defense, gets the ball across the 35 before Egwagu and Sanji combine on the stop. And boy, Coach McMahon for Connally feels like they might be the best pair of linebackers in the state, and they combine on that stop after a gain of 4.
I'll tell you what, these guys attack the football, they swarm, they have a nose for the attack. They don't let too many ball carriers get through that first wave of the defense.
And then you think of those linebackers. Egwagu, he's on his way to UTSA. Sanji's going to play at Texas State. So their efforts have been rewarded. And that will do it, though, for our first quarter. A defensive effort indeed from both teams. No score between Nederland and Connally after one quarter on the Legacy Sports Network.
If safety is your goal, Fabinco is your gate. Fabinco, the world's leading manufacturer of self-closing safety gates.
Tonight's playoff game is brought to you by 5 Point Credit Union, serving the entire Golden Triangle. 5 Point Credit Union, we've got money to loan. And by Lamar University, home to more than 14,000 students. Lamar University is one of the fastest growing universities in Texas and is a member of the Texas State University System. To find out more, find us on the web at lamar.edu. And by the Port Arthur News, serving the area since 1897 and simply second to none in local sports coverage.
Well, only 3 combined first downs in that first period. There was 1 turnover by Nederland, didn't result in any points. Now we're looking at a 3rd and 4 from the 37.
And the win behind the Bulldogs here in our second quarter. An inside handoff to Hopkins. Room to run and more. Down the left sidelines, inside the 40. Marked out of bounds at the 34-yard line. Egwagu had to chase him from behind after a huge gainer.
Yeah, 33 yards on the carry. Excellent play call out of the quarter break. Just a little reverse pivot action, a little counter tray, and he takes it deep into the Cougar territory for a first down.
Puts Hopkins well over 1,500 yards on the season. The deepest penetration for the Bulldogs tonight on the march early in our second quarter. Now Rains to throw. The deep ball down the left sidelines. And the pass was intended for Colton Kimler. He got a couple of touchdowns last week in the playoff win. 38 yards, 34 yards. They were trying for another 34 yards, but the pass was incomplete.
Yeah, excellent coverage downfield. Cole Sneed, the senior DB, excellent coverage, running one-on-one with the receiver, forcing the incompletion and the overthrow.
So Carson Rains, the quarterback, he's 14-0 as a starter in 24A district games. They felt like maybe he's improved as a runner this year, but elevated his game overall, trying to lead his team on a scoring march at 2nd and 10. Quick pitch. Again, it's Hopkins for a couple of yards, if that, and you see a lot of black shirts around Hopkins at the bottom of the pile.
Yeah, running over the right side this time. Another short gain, so now it makes it another 3rd and long situation for Nederland, and these are the type of situations that neither one of these ball clubs are comfortable with, throwing the football in 3rd and long, because it allows the defense to pin its ears back and come after the quarterback.
These are situations they're going to do their best to avoid, but they haven't been able to do so far. A lot of 3rd and longs.
Look at these teams, almost mirror images of one another.
Bulldogs 1 of 3 on 3rd downs so far. And from the I formation, Raines, another deep ball. And his wide receiver was Michael Shaw, and he had double coverage step for step, and that pass was out of the back of the end zone.
Yeah, it looked like Shaw may have had a step early on. The ball kind of floated in the air, allowed the safety to get over in coverage. As you see it here, just a little play fake. Had a little time in the pocket, kind of threw it off one leg and overshot his receiver.
Looks like Tanner Noel, the place kicker, is going to try a long one here. This would be a 49-yard field goal, not quite from that right hash you see. Again, the wind about 15 miles an hour at the back of Noel. So the Bulldogs will try and get their first points with a long field goal try. From the hold of Barfield, a kick is on the way. It is long enough, and it is good. 49 yards from Tanner Noel to start the scoring, and the Bulldogs lead 3-0.
Well, you talk about using the wind to your advantage. He got all of his foot into this one. Good snap, good hold. And he drove that one through the uprights, and he had a good 6 or 7 yards to spare.
Beautiful kick, and the cheerleaders from Nederland celebrate the first score about a minute into our second quarter.
Nederland, after that big 33-yard run by Hopkins, set them up in field position. The drive stalls once again, but they're able to use the wind at their back, get the first 3 on the football board here tonight.
And the Bulldog goes for a ride. I like it. Boy,
good crowd out here tonight. Not the best of weather conditions, but both teams travel well. Nice crowd out here at the Woodlands here this evening for this 4A Division I Round 2 matchup.
Boy, for Connally, you see them on the screen. They lost their last 2 district games, and they weren't quite sure what they had going into the playoffs before that win last week, 33-8 against Montgomery, but a win that saw their quarterback, Dejon Williams, concussed in the 3rd quarter after a huge gain, and they've been in a slightly different situation now on this unique week with Thanksgiving, trying to practice and prepare for this Nederland defense. They'll get the football back, but now down 3-0. And there you see that kick go all the way into the end zone. And wisely, Javon Walker does not want to bring things out, although he got dangerously close to that goal line. We do have a flag on the play.
Yeah, I think it's going to be our first flag of the ball game. We had a penalty-free first quarter, pretty error-free on both sides. So we'll see what the marker here is now. But for Connally, they have a situation now where they're going into the wind, so it's imperative that they at least pick up a couple of first downs to try to at least flip field position.
They'll get a break there. Personal foul on Nederland, which will move the football another 15 yards forward. So instead of beginning from their 25, much better field position, and the football will be spotted right there at the 40.
Well, that's a huge penalty. May not seem like a lot on the kickoff, but just the shift in field position, as we were just stating, with them going into the wind, is huge to get them away from their own goalposts.
Nobles is not in the game. It's Peyton, the running back, a stocky running back who will work from the spread with running backs to each side, Alexander and Sean Williams. And the give will go to Williams.
Oh.
Not much running room as he got chopped down at the 41-yard line. It was Sage C.A. who was able to race up and make that play.
Yeah, he came up and laid a lick. Alexander. Tailback that time. Short gain, 2nd down 1.
Gain of 1. Peyton, you can even see him right there, kind of wipe some of the moisture off his face mask as he was looking to the sideline to get a play.
Yeah, might need to invest in a pair of windshield wipers the way it's starting to come down now.
Might not be a bad idea. Sean Williams running right up the middle between the ashes at around the 43-yard line, picked up a couple of yards, and this will bring up a 3rd long again for the Pflugerville Connally Cougars.
With all the inventions they have for these players now, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see all these guys with the visors on, you know, have a little manual wiper up there for him.
I like that idea. You're thinking now.
Get my pack working on that one.
Cougars off 3 on third downs, another third and long, a 3rd and 7. And Peyton will roll right, setting up for a pass. His throw is out of the reach of his intended target, Luther Yamthe, one of their big play wide receivers. He tried to make a diving catch, but the ball was out of bounds.
Pass off target, but I like the call. You have to try to loosen up this Bulldog defense because they are just keying in on the run right now. Without the threat of any downfield options, it's going to be a long night for this Cougar offensive front.
Bulldogs are going to send 2 players back to hope to return this punt. Michael Shaw and Zach Taylor. Kick from Grubb is a low one. May not be returned again. And indeed, a Connally bounce will carry this football inside the 20 to the 19. Michael Shaw got out of the way, but another 10 or so yards on the roll, a punt of 38. So not bad into the wind, but now the Bulldogs have the football back.
Yeah, you see both punters kicking into the wind, keeping the ball very low. Don't want to get it caught up in the wind where you allow it to get blown back. So good strategies by both special teams coaches coming into this ball game here this evening.
So the Bulldogs leading 3-0. They'll have the football back. And Ken will see if they can build on that momentum from that last drive. And, of course, the big field goal provided them the points.
Well, you know, all they want to do right now, if they feel if they can get it inside the 35, 30-yard line, they're in position. And I expect them to lean heavily on Mr. Kendrick Hopkins, the junior tailback.
8 carries, 61 yards for Hopkins so far in this game. From the old I formation, Hopkins with a head of steam. Daryl Sanji was there to grab him around the shoulder pads and a helmet and ride him down after a pickup of a couple of yards.
Yeah, a little cow rope action, a little Ndamukong Suh action right there as he just went a little head hunting right there. Luckily, he didn't get called for a face mask.
Hard to imagine that wouldn't be some type of infraction. Called a gain of 3. So it'll be 2nd and 7 as we go inside 9 minutes here in our second quarter. Not many stoppages, not many passes or penalties for that matter. And there's Hopkins again, but running right into that stingy Connally defense for a gain of 1.
Yeah, it's a situation where both coaches playing it real close to the vest here. As again, we see the weather conditions, the wind picking up, the rain coming down, more mist than a rain, but still pretty moist down on the field. So both teams trying to avoid the big turnover. We saw Nederland had a turnover early in the ball game. It didn't cost them any points, did stall a drive. Now they face a 3rd and 6 at their own 24.
Bulldogs 1 of 4 on 3rd down conversions. But a tester here at 3rd and 6. Carson Raines will look to his wide receiver and complete a pass for a 1st down. It was Colton Kimmler able to jump up and make the catch, his 15th reception this season.
First completion of the night for Raines. And you see just a quick 3-step drop. Receiver with a good route, goes up strong. Football into the body, comes down with it, protects it, 1st down.
14 yards, decent coverage, but Raines and Kimmler able to provide a fresh set of downs for the Bulldogs on the march, leading 3-0 here in this area round for a playoff matchup. Now Hopkins with a surge up around the 45-yard line, a burst through an open hole, and he picked up maybe 6 yards on the play, or 6 or 7.
They caught Connally coming in with a run blitz from the outside, hit him with a quick inside dive play. Hopkins able to pick up 7 on the carry.
Boy, Coach Newman says about Hopkins, he gets hard yards.
He gets them quick, too.
Yes, he does.
Hard and quick.
I like Hopkins, though, Ken. He says, the first guy should never bring me down. I mean, that's a great attitude for any running back to possess.
Absolutely.
2nd and 4. Hopkins will get another shot. The first man sticks him up, but probably a gain of 5 yards for another 1st down as Hopkins raced through that open hole.
One thing that the coaches love, he hits the hole very, very quickly. All you need to give him is a crease. Watch it open up here on the right side, right behind his fullback. Crease there, hit it. He got stuck, but he held on to the football, picks up the 1st down.
Just shy of midfield, a fresh set of downs for the Bulldogs. Raines went under center, but now looking towards his sidelines and maybe changing the play, talking with Kendrick Hopkins behind him. You don't see many I formations anymore, but one here for Nederland. Raines with time to throw in the direction of Michael Shaw. He had him open, a step for Shaw, beyond Cole Sneed, but the pass was too long.
Well, you see that play action fake that time. You talk about the I formation, those quick hitters inside to Hopkins, set up the play action, caused the safety to bite on it. He had his receiver open, had a good 4 steps on the cornerback, but he just overshot it.
Well, I like taking a crack at the deep ball with the wind behind Raines. This will be the 7th play of the drive, but now it's 2nd and 10 after that incomplete pass.
You get those opportunities, you have to capitalize, especially in a defensive game like this.
Hopkins runs right into the line, maybe a gain of 1. Very little running room whatsoever. There at the bottom of the pile was Darius Atkinson, a junior defensive end. He's going to come off after making that tackle. So a 3rd and 9, and Raines might be forced to go to the air again. He completed 53% of his passes this year, 13 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Just 1 of 7, though, tonight through the air can.
8th play of this drive coming up. The 6:02 mark.
Raines surveying the defense before he goes under center. Pocket beginning to crumble as he throws one out of bounds, intended for Seth Barrow, the son of the offensive coordinator Monty Barrow. Edric McDonald was there closely on coverage, and that'll bring up 4th down.
Yeah, Raines has been pretty off target here tonight. Only 1 completion earlier in this drive, but he's had a couple of open receivers, and he's just missed them.
It's frustrating for a quarterback, right, when those wide receivers have that step?
If they're open, you got to hit them. You're going to hear it on the sideline. I was open.
Well, he might get another shot here. 4th and 9. How about this? Offense staying on the field unless Raines might want some type of quick kick. He may. He's standing deeper than normal, and he will boot it away. And nobody back to return, so this ball can roll and roll inside the 5, and it went into the end zone.
Wow.
It looked like the Bulldogs were going to have a chance to deaden the ball, but Seth Barrow just could not stop it at the 1.
Yeah, Barrow, you just got to tap that ball and let your teammates come help you. And he carries it into the end zone. Excellent call there by the coaching staff as they tried to pin Connally deep, knowing that they're struggling to move the football. They catch a break, it'll come out to the 20.
Barrow had a chance to make that play, just couldn't do so. It was last year in the playoff opener. He had 8 catches against Pearland. Dawson had a big game. Tried to make a big special teams play, but instead Connally begins 1st and 10 from their 20. And it's again Peyton, normally the starting running back, who's been working from this spread of this Wildcat most of the nights. Without Dejon Williams, their talented quarterback, able to play tonight, concussed in last week's playoff win. And Peyton will keep, and ran right into a couple of guys, including Jordan Wood, one of those 3-year starters, picked up just a yard on the play. Boy, nothing fancy right now for Connally, Ken. We wondered how the absence of Dejon Williams would change this offense as Peyton comes out. It has kept them very vanilla, and they've struggled to find yards.
Yeah, Peyton got hit hard on that carry. So now he comes out of the ball game, and they haven't sent a replacement in yet. So there's only 10 Cougars on the field right now. They may take a timeout.
Yeah, with nobody coming on, the play clock will be inside 10. We may have to see a timeout, although none has been called yet.
I think they're going to let the play clock just run down to 1 and then call a timeout.
Well, there you see Williams right there standing with Peyton.
Peyton took a shot on that last hit. We hope he's not concussed after that blow he just took.
Nederland leading 3-0 back after this on the Legacy Sports Network.
But better, Shell Federal Credit Union. Perfect credit not required. Shell Federal Credit Union. No matter where you work or live in Harris County, you're welcome here with full service banking. More for you at Shell FCU. Banking, but better. Shell Federal Credit Union.
So after the timeout, 2nd and 8, Dobles had to run back on after Peyton left the game after that previous play. So into the wind, down 3-0. We'll see what Nobles, the junior quarterback, can do. He'll just put the ball right in the gut of his teammate, purging forward. Corbin Stanley able to make the play after Sean Williams carried for a gain of 3. Williams just 12 rushes on the season entering play tonight. And now a timeout called by Nederland. Well, great to have you with us tonight here from the Woodlands in this area round playoff matchup. Tonight's playoff game is brought to you in part by 5 Point Credit Union, serving the entire Golden Triangle. 5 Point Credit Union, we've got money to loan. And by Lamar University. Home to more than 14,000 students, Lamar University is one of the fastest growing universities in Texas and is a member of the Texas State University system. To find out more, find us on the web at lamar.edu. And by the Port Arthur News, serving the area since 1897 and simply second to none in local sports coverage.
I tell you what, this wind and rain is really picking up now, blowing right into the face of the Connally Cougars as they face a 3rd and long situation from their 25.
Football game indeed played in 1897, low scoring, and not a lot of high octane plays.
Leather helmet's all we're missing here tonight.
Well, Peyton's back in the game. In a definite throwing situation, you're just planting fire, and his pass was incomplete, intended for Leo Dawson.
Well, Mr. Dawson, you have to make a play. When your quarterback puts it on your hands like that and your offense is struggling, I mean, this is a 0-step drop right in his hands. He's got to come up with that football.
The big play wide receiver unable to haul one in, so you see the special teams, the punt unit coming on, and Nederland will get the football back, leading by a field goal, a 49-yard field goal at that here in our first half.
And for Connally, you got to feel as long as you can keep it a 1-score game, you're in good shape. You just don't want to get down by 10 or more.
So Zach Taylor won't get a chance to return this one. Wow. That ball just shanked out of bounds. And this punt may be only 7 or 8 yards as it's marked at about the 32.
Well,
punt of 7.
He got that one a little too much up into the breeze that was blowing right back into his face. He tried to kick another low liner to try to get a roll on it, but that one just went to the right for 7 yards. So Nederland now set up an excellent field position at the 32 as they look to add to their 3-zip lead, and the wind is picking up, probably in that 15 to 20 miles per hour range right now.
Boy, it sure is. And you see Carson Raines come back out and bring his Bulldogs to the line of scrimmage. And the handoff goes to Hopkins with room to run. Gets a block outside. Cuts back at the 10. Stays on his feet. And he's down to the 2. A run of 30 yards for Kendrick Hopkins. Just about got that seam to the end zone.
Hopkins picking up a couple of big chunks. You see the left guard and left tackle pull to the right. And then Hopkins cuts back against the grain. Nearly got to the end zone for 6.
Puts Hopkins over 100 yards on the game, and now Carson Raines will work towards the end zone. He's in. Touchdown, Bulldogs. And for Carson Raines, his 11th rushing touchdown this season, our first TD tonight.
Well, we see how special teams impacted this football game. The win, the bad punt set up the great field position for the Bulldogs. The big hit by Hopkins got him down in the scoring territory, and the quarterback takes it over for 6.
And Noel on for the PAT after that 49-yard field goal earlier. He might put this one up on top of the field house with that wind behind him. From the hold of Bearfield, and that ball is on its way towards the roof, bangs off the basketball facility behind, and that is good, and the Bulldogs have added to the lead. It's now 10-0 Nederland, and this is the Legacy Sports Network.
Done.
What'd you think about that chapter on subliminal messaging?
Hey, I'm not really buying it. I'm fried.
Yeah, it's been a pretty rough quarter.
Well, at least we got this material down cold.
You hungry?
I am. Hi, Mr. McDonald.
Our innermost desire is the force that inspires us to find outright delight. With any size icy cold Coca-Cola, soft drink, or sweet tea for just $1.
For the Bulldogs to kick off after their quick scoring drive, 2 plays, 32 yards. A lot of work was done by Hopkins, but Rain's able to get the score, and boy, things looking good right now for Nederland.
Yeah, absolutely. All set up by the unfortunate 7-yard punt. Mike Connally set them up in great field position, but now if you're Nederland, you have a 2-score lead. You have the wind at your back. You have the opposition without a quarterback right now. You're feeling pretty good if you're the Bulldogs.
Now, Edric McDonald standing 5 yards deep in the end zone. I wouldn't be surprised to see him try and bring one out in one game this year. He had a 70-yard punt return for a touchdown, a 33-yard punt return for a score, and a 55-yard kickoff return, but back 8 yards, he won't bring that one out. You know he wanted to try and make a play. Big special teams player.
Absolutely, absolutely. You want to give your team every opportunity, but that one just carried too deep in the end zone. You don't want to make a mistake and pin your team back deep, so let them start at the 25, see if they can get some momentum going here in the final 4.5 minutes before halftime.
See that light mist and rain blowing. It was slicker weather with some of those fans on an earlier shot. Landon Nobles working with Peyton now to his left.
I'm so glad we're indoors tonight.
It's a good place to be, isn't it? We're not out amongst the elements tonight here in the Woodlands. Peyton will carry, but boy, he runs into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Bulldogs on that play. So it was Washington there, big number 90, Deshaun Washington, but he had a lot of help.
This is a big series for Connally. They need to pick up a first down, have to get some momentum, allow their defense to get some rest on the sideline.
And if nothing else, just not give the football back to Nederland with decent field position and that great kicker.
Absolutely.
So it's 2nd and 9. There's a bobbled exchange, and the football is loose. So we'll see if the Cougars got back on it. It'll be a loss if indeed they covered it. There you see Nobles, the quarterback. And Ken, that's happened a couple of times tonight. I don't know if that's jitters or just that uniqueness of being behind center for the first time this year.
I think it's all jitters, a combination of both. You see the wind whipping up, so those snaps coming back, you know, look like the snaps are coming back fine from the center, but the quarterback just having some nerves, having some jitters, hadn't really calmed down yet, but you look at this wind and this rain, it's really coming down here now.
And it looks like a timeout was burned, probably by Nederland, to try and get this football back at 2nd and 9. By the way, a final, Dawson over Stratford, an entertaining game, 48-35. Dawson wins, and they await the winner of this game next week.
48-35. Looks like a lot of fun.
The game was at Reliant Stadium, very busy today. I think 3 games at the venue trying out their new turf. And of course, they're indoors, but they don't have to worry about the grass that the Texans play on for that busy day of high school football.
And I'm sure the roof was closed.
It's closed on nice days. You know it'd be closed on rainy days. Nobles on a rollout with nowhere to go.
Just needs to hold on to the ball.
Yep, Jordan Wood got him. There's one of the guys at the bottom of the pile, 25. You see, helped out by Deshaun Washington. Sage CA also there. So now on 4th down, exactly what the Cougars didn't want to happen. They're going to get the football back, and Nederland probably will have very good field position.
Yeah, another 3 and out. And again, you're punting into this torrential, well, I won't say torrential rain, a torrential mist coming down, if you will.
Back deep, number 11.
One thing we've not seen as many balls returned to some of the short kicks. Zach Taylor hopes to change that, but that ball goes straight up in the wind and will take a Connally bounce for a couple of yards before it's down at about the 42-yard line. That is a punt of 20 yards, so better than 7, but still great field position for Nederland.
Yeah, it looks like a flag back at the 19-yard line, so we'll check the penalty. It's going to be, looks like an offside against Nederland, so they may just add 5 yards to the end of the kick.
I don't think you really want to re-kick, but they may. I mean, you can do better than 20 yards, but you're obviously worried about another shank or maybe a return of some sort. But
well, I would be afraid of the block because they've gotten pretty close a couple of times. So, and they were pretty close this last time. So I would have elected just to take the 5 yards from the end of the kick and not put my punter in a dangerous situation.
to see Zach Taylor get a chance. Hear about what an athlete he is, a man who can do a complete backflip and full pads. It's pretty impressive. He would love to run one back, and he may get his chance here, although this high kick will be worthy of a fair catch. So Taylor will get a chance to receive but not return, and that ball just on the other side of midfield, 49-yard line for the Bulldogs. A punt of 23, so 3 better yards after the 5-yard penalty. A little stiffer test now for the Bulldogs as the fans await halftime here at Wood Forest Bank Stadium in the Woodlands.
Under 3 minutes to go. Nederland, no timeouts. They burned all their timeouts on defense, trying to preserve clock. So now they have a situation where they can work in the run with Hopkins as well as the short passing game as they choose to. We've seen them go over the top a couple of times, had some open receivers, but Raines just hasn't been able to connect.
Raines 1 for 8, 14 yards through the air. Thrown for more than 1,400 yards this season. Just 14 of those, though, tonight. And he'll fake the give to Hopkins. And the throw here to the near side was nowhere near Seth Barrow.
Again, looks like just some miscommunication between him and Barrow. Barrow just went out of 2 yards and stopped. Raines expected him to keep going through and let him in front. Ball goes incomplete, 2nd and 10.
Boy, Barrow can't complain too much. Again, his father is the offensive coordinator. He calls him coach, not dad. Probably a wise move. You can't go home and say, hey, Dad, hey, I'm open. Hit me.
Right, exactly.
2nd and 10 for Raines and the Bulldogs. Their Barrow comes in the slot. Raines with time to throw. In the direction of Michael Shaw, but double coverage. And the football pops loose. Edric McDonald was there with good coverage along with Egwagu, the linebacker.
Yeah, excellent coverage downfield. Safety coming over the top to make the play. And again, Raines throwing in a dangerous pass into double coverage. Really should have been picked off.
McDonald jumped up high for that one. There's another guy that's going to go play at UTSA, an emerging program in San Antonio. They've obviously recruited Connally quite well. 3rd and 10, though. So after good field position, nothing doing so far for the Dogs.
Yeah, it's a big 3rd down play here, especially for Connally. They want to get their defense off the field. Can't afford to give up any more points.
Raines has time to throw. I should have said that too soon. He got hit as the ball was thrown, and the pass fell incomplete. Christian Rivera, one of the defensive tackles, only a sophomore, up for a pretty big hit.
Yeah, he got hit at just as he released the football. But the ball fluttered incomplete. So good defensive stand that time by the Cougar defense, forcing a 3 and out after the short punt. So now they'll have another opportunity as we have still 2:39 to go here in this first half. Connally will still have 2 timeouts to work with.
So Barrow to punt to McDonald. We talked about McDonald earlier. That one game where he had 3 either punt or kickoff returns for touchdowns. And they're going to try and kick away from him. So McDonald will go back. He should have probably found a way to get the football, but it angled out of bounds. It doesn't matter, and it'll be out at the 14. So not a lot of time left for Connally. McDonald, though, did not get a chance to return after a punt of 37.
Well, 6 possessions in this first half. Connally with only 2 first downs in this ball game. So we'll be looking at a 1st and 10 back inside their own 15-yard line.
Well, not having DeJean Williams has been a big factor. Earlier this year, you know, Williams doesn't throw a lot, Ken. One game he had 5 completions, but 4 were touchdowns. Another game against Eastview, he had 4 completions for 3 touchdowns. So he doesn't throw much, but he made them count, and they've not had that ability tonight.
And just having the threat of the quarterback back to throw the ball puts a lot of added pressure on the defense. Now this is a very relaxed Bulldog front 7.
Peyton on a design run will angle right and gain a couple of yards. He was wrapped up by Stampley and Say. He's 0-2 through the air is Peyton, but that time he was able to rush for 3 yards.
Eventually you might expect them to open up the playbook, maybe a reverse, a screen pass, something to try to get one of these speedsters into the open field.
They don't want an incomplete pass, though. Nederland does not have a timeout. They cannot stop the clock as long as Connally doesn't. So Peyton will run again, and while he will not pick up many yards, the clock will keep ticking. In fact, no yards on the play. Stampley again there on the play, along with Brock Pryor, talented defensive tackle.
3rd down and 6.
So 3rd and 6, but even after a running play, if they don't get the first down, it'll be inside a minute to go here before half. Bulldogs lead by 10. Peyton will throw. The pass was bobbled and dropped by Devon Martin. Bryce Whaley is there on the defense from his safety spot, but probably a catch Martin should have made. That's 2, though, tonight, Ken, that Peyton has had a decent throw, but hasn't been able to get any help.
Yeah, when those receivers come across the middle, those safeties like to make them hear footsteps. And they've heard footsteps a couple of times tonight on those slant routes. Now, one thing you want to do as a quarterback, of course, Peyton's not an experienced quarterback, you want to get that ball a little bit lower, allow your receiver to go down and catch it.
But it stopped the clock of an incompletion, so the kick is going to be out of bounds right at midfield, and Nederland is going to have the football at the 49 of Connally with a $1:14 left, even though there's no timeout. So maybe just a first down or more might give them a shot at another long field goal after that punt of 33 yards.
Well, they're right back where they started the last possession at their own 49, this time at the Connally 49, so they pick up a couple of yards on the change of field possession. But as you mentioned, 1:14 to go. Wind has died down slightly here, so they'll still have a pretty strong wind at their back.
Carson Raines, 1 of 11, 14 yards. He's had 5 straight incomplete passes, coming off a game in which Coach Newman said maybe was his best against Dayton last week, and a flag as the play was blown up from the beginning.
Yeah, been an offside here against Connally unless they were drawn off. I believe that'll be the first penalty against the Cougars here this evening. Yes, it will be. So they'll mark off 5, but it'll be 1st and 5 for Nederland as they lead it 10-0. Round 2.
Indeed, Nederland again, the 5th-ranked team in the last 4A AP poll, and leading by 10 and looking for more before the half. Remember, Noel kicked a 49-yard field goal in this direction earlier, so any positive yards will make this a possibility for the Bulldogs before the half. Clock running, though, now. So Raines needs to snap this football and does. And maybe some miscommunication because that ball was close to no one. In fact, the closest was one of the Cougars, Chris Luca.
And outside.
2nd down and 5.
Yeah, nowhere near his receiver, and again another just miscommunication between Raines and his outside guys. So not on the same page of the Bulldog offense here tonight.
So a 2nd and 5 for the Dogs. For Raines' confidence, I'm sure he'd like to complete a pass or two, not just to get them into field goal range, but to give him some momentum here in this first half. Raines now being chased. There's a flag down as Raines will throw one away. I'm not sure he was out of the pocket or the tackle box, so to speak. And in fact,
there was no receiver over there either.
No receiver whatsoever. There's at least one flag down. Probably going to be against Nederland to begin with, but we'll let our officials sort things out.
Yeah, Connally came with a delayed blitz that time against Raines, and there's the flag for intentional grounding as well. So we'll let them sort this out.
A lot of penalties here, and probably take, of course, the grounding penalty as opposed to probably a hold, but our officials doing more communicating with the Connally sidelines than us.
Hold it, offense. The penalty is declined. Intentional grounding, offense. 5 yards from the spot of the foul, loss of down.
Yeah, that's the loss of down penalty in addition to the yardage.
So it's going to be 5 yards from where the infraction took place, which was back at the 41. So that should mark it up back around the 36-yard line of Nederland.
Well, Jay Darneal will be along in just a moment. Probably talking with Coach Newman at the half, although this last drive has not been one that's thrilled him. It had that quick 5-yard penalty on Connally, but now his team has gone in reverse gear. In fact, back to their own 41-yard line, facing a 3rd and 22. So a handoff goes to Hopkins, and he goes backwards. Now with a couple of timeouts, we'll see if Connally wants to burn one, and they may, to get the football back, give them a chance to make one more play before the half.
Yeah, they will go ahead and burn one, so they'll have one left. They'll see if maybe if they can get a big return. They may even try to put a punt block on. It's 4th and 22, so nothing else has worked so far. So I may send somebody after the kicker, see if I can get a big play on special teams.
Sometimes that's what it takes, right? A special teams play to give the team a jolt.
Yeah, you have to try to drum up some momentum any way you can. The punter for Nederland has done a good job keeping the ball away from their return guys. So now maybe if you can put some pressure on him, force him into a quick kick, even if you don't get there, you may allow your returner an opportunity to come up with a big play.
43 seconds to play here in the half. Again, the winner, it's Pearland Dawson next week. They were a 48-35 victor against Stratford today, and they're a much lower scoring defensive-minded game, one that we expected or anticipated. Certainly the loss of Dejon Williams, a concussion suffered in the third quarter on what some might say was a late hit last week, and the decisive playoff win against Montgomery has made things very difficult for the Cougars offense.
A good thing for them, it's still only a 10-point ball game. Somehow they can come up with some points here in the last 43 seconds or so. They'll put themselves in a position to contend here in the second half.
Donald back to return. And the punt is bobbled, but it was away by Barrow. And no return. That ball was shanked and downed or touched around the 42-yard line, but that bobble gave them a shot at a block.
They had an opportunity. As you see here, it was a very low snap. He tried to one-hop it, and he was very lucky to get that one off. Great play by Barrow just to get it out of there.
Wasn't a bobble. It was a short snap, a 19-yard punt. So Barrow able to make the play and get it away. And the Cougars will have it with 31 seconds to play at their own 42-yard line. But again, they're going into this win without a quarterback who has completed a pass in Nobles. Actually, I think one pass for no yards.
And that was one that was about 5 yards outside and got tipped back to his receiver.
It was deflected into the hands of his own wide receiver. So the southpaw will dial one up at a dangerous pass. He completed one to Peyton, but that's for a loss, and I'm not sure that's the type of pass play you want to make, a loss of 4, but it was in no man's land. Remember, this Nederland team has picked off 17 balls this year.
Yeah, you jump that route, that's a pick 6 going the other way.
And they've had 4 of those this year, so they've kind of specialized in pick 6s. One final play, probably for Nobles. He will tuck and run, and he will be chased by half the Bulldogs out there, and that is it here in our first half. A Nederland defense that earlier this year pitched consecutive shutouts for the first time since 1969. They pitched a shutout at the half, and they lead Connally 10-0. And we'll check in here in a minute with Jadar Neal and see if he can catch up with the coach.
We do. Now we're joined by Coach Larry Newman. Coach, only 10-0, but defensively you were playing lights out. Do you think it has something to do, obviously, with the quarterback situation over there? Are you just going to continue playing defense like you are?
Well, you know, we knew the quarterback, their starting quarterback, had got dinged up a little bit in the last game. We expected him to play, but they've done a really fine adjustment, in my opinion, moving the tailback to a wildcat formation. It presented a little different approach for us defensively, but I think we've adjusted that pretty well. Really what we have to do is get more consistent offensively. There's some of the things they're doing to us defensively we just can't allow to happen in the second half. We need to take care of the ball a little better and execute a little better offensively.
Well, with the weather like this, are you going to change anything offensively?
Really, the weather's, you know, it's misting a little bit and the wind's blowing, and you get that pretty much all the time. So we're not really concerned about the weather. I think it's an advantage when you got the wind at your back, but I hope it's not a game changer, you know.
Thanks for the time, Coach. Guys, back up to you.
All right, thanks, Jay, and thanks to Coach Newman for stopping by before the half. His team, the Nederland Bulldogs, they lead Pflugerville Connally 10-0 at the break on the Legacy Sports Network.
Bigger. No, bigger still. Ah, it's good to be king. This fall, experience king-size dining, shopping, merriment, and more at the Texas Renaissance Festival. Discount tickets are on sale now at Randall's, Walgreens, Wood Forest National Bank, and online at TexRenFest.com. The Texas Renaissance Festival. Choose your own adventure.
If safety is your goal, Fabinco is your gate. Fabinco, the world's leading manufacturer of self-closing safety gates.
The 2012-2013 Social Officers are Historian Kayla Montana, Treasurer Hunter Hotno, Secretary Shelby Flournoy, Vice President Tierney Wallace, and President Megan Collins. The 2012-2013 officers from left to right are First Lieutenant Kristen Semino, Lieutenant Emily DeMillia, Captain Callie Macon, Lieutenant Jenna Dunlap, and Lieutenant Katie Shillett. The Western Airs will be performing a Hooper tune to Give Me Everything.
Check. Ladies and gentlemen, John B. Connally High School proudly presents for your halftime entertainment, the Connally Cougar Marching Band. Tonight, the Cougar Band will perform the Lady Gaga mega hit, Just Dance. And now, under the direction of senior drum majors Gabby Landeros and Kendra Upton, the Connally Cougar Marching Band.
excited part of the Postgame deal? So, that's it. My thought, you know, until 9:30. They're buying breakfast. When they wear breakfast, anything you want, really. Yeah, I'm excited. Well, that's okay. That's okay. 4-minute quarters, so you feel okay. You're up there every 15 minutes. Anytime I here for the other time, I know. I'm like, trying not to smile when trying to think of my next question. You know you're about to say, you're making me laugh too much. Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you put what you do together, as soon as this is over, we need to break down as fast as possible. Read it.
Talk.
Yeah, seriously.
Amateur.
You can't call me and ask me if I want to play? You couldn't call me and ask me if I want to play.
Stolen with Ken Moore. Great to have you with us again. It's a 10-0 Nederland lead. And Ken, in the open, we discussed defense. We touted both defenses. I think they've lived up to the billing.
Yeah, I think we knew what we were talking about here tonight. Defensive battle on both sides of the football here tonight. Nederland winning the battle right now, shutting out Connally. Connally without their starting quarterback tonight. They have really struggled offensively in this ball game, but their defense has kept them in it despite their early game struggles.
Well, let's talk about Connally. They've thrown for -4 yards in the first half. Their total offense, 41 yards. I know the wind at times is a condition, working from right to left. Can they make the adjustments at the half to have a competitive offense here in the second half?
I think they can. They had a couple of opening receivers on the short passing game. They had a couple of drop passes. They have to make sure that they convert those passes. They also want to get Peyton going again in the Wildcat. Started the game, caught Nederland by surprise, had a couple of nice runs. They have to try to expand upon that in the second half.
All right, the Bulldogs, a 49-yard field goal to start the scoring, a two-play drive that took them 34 yards for the only touchdown. Carson Raines was the man we talked about, their starting quarterback. He's had a big year. In fact, he's had a big playoff so far with one game, but today he's not been on the money.
Yeah, he has been off. Probably his worst game of the season so far. Only 1 of 14 so far in this ball game. He's really struggled. He's had some open receivers in the ball game. Just has not been able to be on target. Not sure if the weather is playing a lot of havoc with his throwing here tonight, but he has not been on point at all. So he'll have to definitely do better here in the second half. And we have the teams coming out onto the field as we look at Raines' numbers from the season. Much better than his performance tonight. Nearly 1,400 yards passing, 1,600 total yards combined rushing, 17 touchdowns on the season. He did have a touchdown run in the ball game, a 2-yard scamper to put his team on top, 10-zip.
You get the feeling, though, Ken, if he can make a big play or two with his arm, it might be enough tonight. The way the Cougars have struggled to get anything going offensively, if Raines is on the mark, if he's able to hit his wide receivers, should the Bulldogs go to the air in the second half, it might be what they need to just move on to another round.
Well, one thing they might do is go a little conservative. They have a 10-point lead. They know that Connally is really struggling offensively. One thing that they might look to do is just try to grind it out. You don't want to put your quarterback in a situation, especially if he's off target in bad conditions. You don't want to get a pick six the other way to give the other team momentum. I would just grind it out and play field position the rest of this ballgame.
Well, they've rushed for 102 yards. They passed for those 14, so not a lot either for the Bulldogs, 116 yards. Now, Hopkins has 102 of those 116 yards. So when you talk about grinding it out, there's a pretty good guy to go to.
Well, Hopkins has been tremendous. We saw him with a couple of big carries, had a big 33-yard run to set up the field goal, had another big 30-yard run to set up the touchdown. He's been the man. He hasn't gotten into the end zone, but he's set up all 10 points so far tonight for the Bulldogs.
I think we've had more punts than first downs, and in this era of high explosive offensive teams, it's rare to say that. So we'll see what happens here in our second half if the Cougars can get back in this game, only down 10-0, or whether it's Nederland who will advance next week to take on Pearland Dawson, a 48-35 winner over Stratford today at Reliant. And as far as the Cougars are concerned, well, they will get the football first here in our third quarter.
Yeah, well, Connally will have an opportunity to make some things happen. Now, the situation that they have is that, again, they will be going into the win here in the third period. So, one key point from the first half, the 10 points by Nederland, they got them in the second period when they had to win at their back. They'll have to win at their back here in the third quarter.
Yeah, great point. A chance for them to add to their lead. But again, the Cougars will get the football first. We've seen some big kicks with that wind from our left to our right, but this one will be returned. It is Javon Walker fighting to get to the 15-yard line, and that is it. It was Seth Barrow with the special teams tackle, so not very good field position for the Cougars after this kick that was taken only about 10 yards.
Yeah, after you get a short kick like that, you definitely like to have a better return, but not good blocking. As you see, McMahon missed the block, allowed his returner to get tackled. Only a 10-yard return, as you mentioned. They'll come out in the Wildcat once again from their own 15.
Cougars had just 2 first downs in our first half. Ladadrix Payton will be the man from the Wildcat. You heard Coach Newman there at the half with Jay talking about the fact he liked how they made that transition, but still trying to get on track as Payton and the Cougars. And Payton will keep a tough man to bring down. He'll get a couple of yards, but that's it. It's been a tough defensive front for Nederland so far today, and there was Caleb Malvo, the first man to make the stop.
Well, one of the major problems so far for Connally is they haven't had any significant yardage on first down. They faced a lot of second and third and long situations.
Well, it's been a big part of it, hasn't it? Second and long, third and long?
You can't operate that way, especially against a defense like the Bulldogs. You need to put your team in a better situation, some short yardage situations where you can open up the playbook.
Well, you see the linebackers creeping up towards that line of scrimmage. Peyton will try and beat him through the air. The pass was deflected before it was in the direction of Stampley. Stampley may have got a hand on it. Pass was thrown towards Andrew Hill, the tight end.
Stampley, the big linebacker, dropping back in coverage again. You'll see just a quick play action. This time he drops back in coverage. Good adjustment that time by the Bulldog defense. Nearly got burned twice in the first half. Luckily for them, each time the Cougar receiver dropped the football.
So -4 yards passing tonight for the Cougars. A passing situation here, 3rd and 9, and pretty good coverage. The pass was incomplete. A pair of number 8s going at it. Bryce Whaley on the defense. The pass was intended for Michael Egwagu, the linebacker, who also plays both ways from time to time.
It looked like the back judge was looking to pull his flag out. You see it, hands in pocket, but he kept him inside, calls it incomplete. So it's going to be a quick 3 and out for the Cougars.
Looks like a different punter on. It's Daniel Portillo, also the place kicker. He's got the big leg. He will kick into this wind. The punt was nearly blocked, and a fair catch is called, even though there was no one in the area code of Zach Taylor. He'll make the catch at the 42.
Yeah, that was an excellent kick under pressure. He got that one about 40 yards back to the 42-yard line, so a good punt under duress. And Nederland will start off 1st and 10 at their 42-yard line. And again, we'll look at some of the key players in this ball game tonight. Shaw has been quiet on the outside. Came into tonight with 6 touchdowns, 31 receptions. Hopkins, the tailback, he's been the big guy, over 100 yards in the first half. Set up both scores with 30-plus yards on each carry.
So here come the Bulldogs. You see the big offensive linemen up front that have been leading the way for Hopkins with more than 100 yards rushing. He'll be one of the 2 running backs behind the quarterback, Carson Raines, who himself is hoping to get on track here in the second half. Hopkins with the quick pitch up near midfield. And short of a first down, but a nice gain of 8 yards on first down for Kendrick Hopkins.
Hopkins again rolling over that right side. And he's picked up some good yardage in this ball game. You see his average on the season, averaging 6.5 yards per pop, 13 touchdowns. Hasn't been in the end zone yet tonight, but you know he's looking to smell the goal line.
Well, that's part of the story. They talk about Hopkins getting so many yards, but oftentimes not a lot of touchdowns. He's got so many other compliments that can score. He hasn't always been rewarded, but he's done a lot of the work today. But now a different ball carrier involved. It is the fullback running right up the middle for a handful of yards and more.
Yeah, Brandon Dow on just a little inside trap. You see him just in a split back formation this time. Goes right between guard and center. Quick hitter. First time we've seen that play tonight. Caught the Cougars by surprise.
Pickup of 10, a first down. So now the Bulldogs on the move. And you see Raines take a knee. He thought that the Cougars jumped offside, so rather than taking the free play, he'll take the 5 yards, I believe. See Raines, he's pointing in the direction of the Cougars. He knows that's an offsides, so it'll be 1st and short.
That's one thing the Cougars cannot afford to do is start making mental mistakes defensively. They're going to have to try to come up with some kind of play, something to get some momentum over here on the near sideline. Get some mojo going back on this Cougar field.
Now Raines having a conversation with his running backs before he approaches the line of scrimmage. 1st and 5. Hopkins with a head of steam has the first down and more. One man had a chance to save the touchdown. And the tackle was finally made by Edric McDonald, but not before a gain of 9 on the play.
Yeah, you see Hopkins starting to break them off in big chunks right now. That offensive line starting to dominate, starting to push this Cougar defensive front 7 back towards their own goal line.
Well, so far as offensive linemen are concerned, the Bulldogs have used several this year. They've they've had 10 different players start. They've had only one guy, Justin Bird, Jacob Brinkley rather, who's been able to play every game without missing any time. Last week Bird was out with an illness, so they've had a rotating cast of characters. Blocking now for Raines, trying to get on track offensively, and that pass was into the back of the defensive back. And the flag will fly, as you will see. It's Cole Schneid who was there on the coverage, tracking down Seth Barrow, and that play really didn't have much of a chance.
Yeah, they're going to call pass interference. It looked like against the cornerback. Doesn't look like he got his head turned around in time. And that's going to be 15 big ones against the Cougars. So a couple of big penalties here to begin this third quarter against Pflugerville Connally, and they're in some deep, deep trouble right now, trailing by 10 points.
Boy, that pass was underthrown.
Yeah,
Had
really.
McDonald just turned around and played the ball, it would have been a nice play.
Yeah, I think he just didn't recognize the receiver turning around for the football, ran right into him. Ill-advised mistake. It's going to be 1st and goal for the Bulldogs.
1st and goal.
So Connally needs a stop. They need to keep Nederland out of the end zone some way, somehow. Down 10-0 already. And Hopkins will take the pitch. He's at the 5, spun around, a late flag comes flying in. Pretty good open field tackle was made by the Cougars. Looked like Sanji, the linebacker, saved a touchdown, but it would have come back anyhow, holding on the offense.
Yeah, again, just a little split formation, a little quick pitch to the left. Couldn't pick up the hole there, but a couple of officials did, so it's going to back up 10 yards.
You talk about the offensive line, and immediately you see that 10-yard penalty negating a nice gain on 1st and goal. So now they'll be backed up to the 19-yard line. So 1st and goal from the 19 takes on a different dimension for a team that's not been able to throw the ball tonight.
A lot of that moist mist and rain that we saw in the first half has dissipated here in the third period. So slightly better playing conditions now for Raines in his offensive attack.
Surprised they haven't tried to run Raines, maybe some type of rollout. He'll throw here. And the pass is complete to Colton Kimbler. He lost the football. And the Cougars have it. Might be Cole Schneid who picked it up. And indeed, Schneid with the football.
Wow, so a little strip action that time. Big play from the Cougar defense. We were just talking about how their defense needed to make a play, needed to get a stop. And so for the second time tonight, Connally forces a turnover, and now their offense will have an opportunity to try to capitalize. They still have a long way to go, but at least they keep the Bulldogs from scoring any more points.
Second fumble tonight for Nederland, so the Cougars get it back. Reasonable field position at their 21, considering the Bulldogs had 1st and goal at the 9. Nobles will stay on the sidelines, and Ledadrix Payton will back up about 5 yards behind his center. A design run, but, well, he made the first man miss, but he was ridden down by the 2nd and 3rd. I believe that was Washington again. Actually, that time it might have been Kobe Kuran who gets credit for the tackle.
And you just wonder what the Cougars can try to dial up offensively. They haven't gone deep. They've tried some slant patterns that have not worked. You wonder if they may just try to go over the top at some point on this possession.
Williams on the jet sweep. Runs the football across the 25 for a pickup of 3. So, again, not much there for the Connally offense. Another 3rd and 9 situation. Maybe it's about 3rd and 5 upcoming.
Leo Dawson has been their big play receiver this season. 25 receptions, 460 yards. See if they try to target him to get him involved in the action.
Cougars 0 of 7 on 3rd downs. Little play fake. And that pass was nearly intercepted. It was intended for Wilrich, but on the defense it was Colton Kimbler. Now he's had 6 interceptions this year. He's had 6 of their 17, and he was going to try and lay out and get number 7 if at all possible.
And again, Payton had his receiver open across the middle, just laid it out too far in front. Again, he's not an experienced quarterback, kind of forced into action here tonight. Lance Nobles, the junior backup quarterback has been ineffective.
Portillo, who punted the last time, will kick one towards Taylor. He'll make the fair catch right there at the 46. That's where Nederland begins. They played with this short field here in the third quarter. That time a punt of 29 yards, and the Bulldogs will have it back, leading 10-0.
Well, that's been part of the story of this ball game as well. It's been field position for Nederland, as they've had excellent opportunities. You just look at some of their last 4 possessions, their own 49, the Connally 49, and begin this third quarter at their own 42 and at their own 46. So really no pressure on them offensively at all.
You feel like one more score might do it. The average field position for the Bulldogs has been the 47-yard line. So right about in that spot again, working with a short field. And Hopkins, who's been the offense tonight, able to turn the corner at midfield and fly into Cougars territory for a gain of 5 yards on the play.
And Hopkins has been the one guy tonight on either side of the football that has been able to get on track offensively. Well over 100 yards now on the ground.
18 carries, 124 yards, and get a feeling, Ken, he's going to be able to add to both of those totals here in the third and fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think he's going to be the bell cow, especially going, as you know, about 18 minutes left in this ball game as they try to just grind out a victory here tonight with their sights set on Pearland Dawson next week. Oh, what a big hit.
Oh, from the offset eye, Hopkins carried again, but he was met at the point of resistance. That tackle was made by Darryl Sanji, the Texas State commit, the linebacker.
You can't take anything away from this Cougar defense. They've showed up to play tonight. They're battling this Bulldog defense tooth and nail, and they're trying to keep their team in this ball game. They forced 2 turnovers. The offense for Connally just hasn't been able to take advantage and put some points on the scoreboard themselves. You have a feeling the Cougars may have to score defensively to get back into this ball
game. It's true. It was a defense that last week did not allow Montgomery into their own territory in the first half, didn't let him cross the 50. Little bubble screen, and the pass is caught by Seth Barrow, fighting for a few yards, but he's shy of the first down at 3rd and 7. He did not get it. And we'll see after he pick up a 4 by number 4 what the Bulldogs want to do, and it doesn't look like they're going to bring on the punt unit.
And they may go for that little quick kick once again. He's kind of in that mid-level formation, his range. Yep.
And there's nobody back to return. No, the Cougars may have jumped. There's the flag, and if that's the case, that'll move the sticks.
That's unforgivable. 3rd time tonight that they have jumped off sides, and you're right in front of the football. That's big number 66. God bless his heart. That's Christian Rivera jumping offside, and he's going to give the Bulldogs a new set of downs.
See it here again.
Yeah, it wasn't a hard count or anything. Just got a little antsy. Party starts at 8. Be there at 8. Not 7:15. Got there too early.
Fresh set of downs from the Connally 42. Five and a half to play here in our third quarter. It was 10-0 at the half. Our score has remained in that same position here in our third quarter. There's a quick pass play. The pass is complete to Michael Shaw. He gains 9, maybe 10 yards. A quick hitter, Michael Shaw, with 22 catches on the year.
So now Nederland starting to get that short passing game working. That's 3 completions in a row for Raines.
Well, sometimes just that short pass, that little flip might get him going offensively rather than the deep ball.
Absolutely. Just try to get him some confidence, you know. And again, the weather conditions are a lot better now than they were earlier in the ball game. So he may have a little better feel on the football, just some quick outs, let his receivers make some plays after the catch.
Good point. The wind has continued from left to right behind the Bulldogs here in the third quarter, but no wet stuff, not the mist or the light rain. Maybe easier to grip that football. So a 1st and 10 play, and Hopkins. Oh, there's nothing there. Boy, at least 3 Cougars there on the defense.
Yeah, good penetration once again, coming up to make the stick. Looked like it was 42, Brandon Lee. One more time. Big hit in the backfield.
Called a loss of 1 on the play. Boy, we have seen so many 2nd and 11s or 12s or 3rd and 10s for both teams in this game. This will be the 7th play of the drive, and we'll see if Raines is forced to go back to the air. Quick drop. Deep ball. And boy, the pass was in the hands of his intended receiver, Kimmler, I believe. Cole Snead was step for step on the coverage.
Yeah, just a little stop and go up top. And good coverage. Receiver nearly came back to make a play on the football. Kimmler, it was, the junior. Oh, knocked away at the last instance. So again, as you mentioned, another 3rd and long situation for the Bulldogs. Still protecting that 10-zip lead.
Now, Noel did knock a field goal through from 49. Should they not get any yards here, it might be an attempt of in that ballpark again. But I'm sure the Nederland offense and coaching staff would like to see them do better than settle for another long field goal. Raines just wraps the handoff around to Brandon Dial inside the 30. He'll pick up a couple of yards but fall well shy of the first down.
Now to make their decision a little more interesting to see if they'll go for the long field goal attempt. A little wraparound draw. Goes off the left side, picks up about 3 or 4 yards. And if they do go for the field goal, which it looks like they will, it's going to make it a little bit more manageable attempt. Looks like it'll be from the left hash from about 46.
Nice open field tackle from Chris Luca to force this field goal try. But again, Noel has knocked one through from 49 already today. This one from 46, the wind behind him. And from the hole to Bearfield, and here's the kick.
So maybe short.
And not quite enough. And a little bit to the right.
It looks like he got under that one just a little bit too much. So Connally holds once again.
That's a nice playoff game. It's brought to you in part by 5 Point Credit Union, serving the entire Golden Triangle. 5 Point Credit Union, we've got money to loan. And by Lamar University, home to more than 14,000 students. Lamar University is one of the fastest growing universities in Texas and is a member of the Texas State University System. To find out more, find us on the web at lamar.edu. And by the Port Arthur News, serving the area since 1897 and simply second to none in local sports coverage. So the Cougars have the football back. Peyton looking for some running room. Nifty move. He's loose at the 40. Big chase from behind and down the sidelines. Boy, tough to bring down. And finally, he's taken to the 18-yard line. It was Iguagu who was chasing Ladadrix Peyton, who had a head of steam.
52-yard burst by Peyton. And that's what the Connally Cougar fans have been waiting for all night long. A simple sweep to the right side. Jukes one defender, cuts inside, and then look at the big guy rumble down the sideline, carrying 2 Bulldogs with him inside the 20.
Yeah, correction, it was Whaley and Kimmler, the safeties, who went for a ride. Big gainer all the way down to the 18-yard line, the deepest penetration tonight for Pflugerville Connally. And now they'll go to the air. And the pass to Yamthi is complete for very little running room at all. Zach Taylor was there to make the stop after a gain of 2. Also Whaley involved in that tackle.
Now, the Cougars, a little mojo, a little swag in their step right now as they try to get back into this ball game, facing a 2nd down and 8.
So Peyton had the long run, then at his first completion of this game. Remember, Dejon Williams, their quarterback, concussed last week in the 3rd quarter, a huge playoff win and performance, unable to play today. Now Peyton with that drop back. He may run after all. He'll get a couple of yards, but that time he is brought down from behind. Corbin Stampley was there. Kuron was also chasing. He got a couple of yards, but it'll be 3rd and, well, somewhat long again, Ken.
Yeah, it's going to be 3rd and about long 6. You have to wonder if they're in 2-down territory here, but they still need 2 scores, so we'll see what happens on this 3rd down play. Critical play here for Connally.
0 for 8 on 3rd downs. They're going into the win on this 3rd and 6 here in our 3rd quarter. Peyton will throw. His pass was dropped. He had Martin. Had him for a first and goal, maybe even more. Devon Martin had it slip right through his hands.
That's at least the third drop on a slant pattern that has been on the money from Peyton.
I think the second from Martin.
I mean, it was a tad behind the receiver, but you have to make that catch.
So Daniel Portillo will come on for this field goal try. His long this year is 43. We saw him going the other way in warm-ups from 55. Kicking into the wind, this will be a try of 31 yards. Trying to get Connally on the board. The snap was bobbled, but the kick is up, and it is no good. He missed it. The bobbled snap may have played into that wide left, and the Cougars, after their deepest penetration tonight, are denied points.
Both teams missed back-to-back field goals. You see problems with the snap, and the kick just sails wide to the right. And that's a huge blow to the momentum of the Connally Cougars after that big gain by Peyton. Got him in good field position. Looked like he had a first down strike inside the 5 that was dropped, and then they missed the field goal attempt.
Boy, that's deflating. This tough Nederland defense, it looked like finally Connally, after a big play, maybe a pass completion, they were on their way to points, but they're denied, and now the Bulldogs have it back with a minute plus to go in our third quarter, and no surprise, Hopkins again dragging would-be tacklers, including McDonald, along for a ride.
And this is a lot of time where a team can get mentally defeated defensively. You've played so tough, so hard for so many minutes in this ball game, and your offense continues to sputter. You just wonder how much more the Connally Cougar defense can continue to fight.
Have to be looking for another turnover or something to get that football back to them in good field position. A gain of 5 in the previous play, so 2nd and 5. It's Hopkins again. Nearly chopped down at the 30, but he stayed on his feet across the 36-yard line. So Hopkins wouldn't be denied, and that goes back to what we were talking about earlier after that gain of 11. He's a believer. You just should not come down after that first tackle attempt, and he did not.
Yeah, you see him here again, split backfield. He's coming from left to right, had a huge hole, puts that hand down as you taught in your running drills. Put that hand down, keep your balance, picks up an extra 5 yards.
So McDonald was the man who missed, and the football was carried out to the 36. Maybe our final play here in our third quarter for the Nederland Bulldogs, unless they go to the air, and that's what Raines will look to do. Pass intended for Barrow. He's got it. He's loose. He's in the end zone. Touchdown. 64 yards on the play. And Raines to Barrow. And it's 16-0 Bulldogs.
Well, Raines, he gained some confidence with those short passes earlier in the quarter. And then now showing the strength and the confidence, the play action. And he goes up deep, lays it out for his receiver in stride, and he takes it to the house.
Barrow, with his 4th touchdown of the year, beat Cole Snead, and would be one more pass with that win behind him before they flip sides in the 4th quarter and they convert.
Excellent call by the coaching staff to take advantage of the win.
Tanner Noel with his PAT try, and he will knock one through. So now the Bulldogs have increased their lead to 17-0 with just 5 seconds to play in our third quarter here at Woodforest Bank Stadium in the Woodlands.
That was a quick 3-play, 80-yard drive after the missed field goal attempt. So you talk about a quick strike to get Nederland in control. As they look forward now, they are in full control of this one, as they may start to peek ahead to a third-round playoff matchup with Pearland Dawson next week.
Well, you talk about Barrow and Pearland Dawson. It was Barrow who just caught the touchdown last year, maybe had his biggest game in the playoffs. Against Dawson, he had 8 catches for 118 yards, so he's probably looking forward to maybe playing them again, but it was his touchdown there on that previous drive that gave the Bulldogs a little bit of breathing room, which they have been after for quite some time.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we talked about Connally's defense just wearing down, and mentally they finally broke on that big pass play.
What a big turn of events, though. It looked like the Cougars had 1st and goal at the 2, maybe going in for a touchdown, tried for the field goal, didn't get it, and just a couple of seconds later, for that matter, then they give up 7.
Yeah, you look at that's a 14-point swing in a matter of a couple of minutes, and now your team is really behind the 8 ball, trailing by 3 scores with just over a quarter remaining in this ball game.
Yeah, the The Cougars down 17 points. They've had just 3 first downs in this game, so maybe the big play is what they're going to have to go for, because it's been tough to sustain drives against this Bulldog defense. Edric McDonald, he will indeed try and make a big play here. Speedy runner, he may do it. One man to beat. He's got the corner and more down the sidelines. One Bulldog has an angle, but how about the cutback? Edric McDonald earlier this year had 3 kickoff returns for touchdowns, took one back well in excess of 100 yards.
You can mark that one off at about 105 for Mr. McDonald, as he caught a great seam right up the middle, makes a tremendous cut to the left, and then it's a foot race, outruns the kicker. Then coming up the angle, yeah, Zach Taylor had the angle, cuts inside, whoops, see ya, to the house. This ball game isn't over yet, folks.
Got interesting. It was back on September 4th against Bastrop Cedar Creek. As you see, the PAT is up and good. McDonald had 3 touchdowns in a 6-minute span, a 70-yard punt return, a 33-yard punt return for scores, and a kickoff return. He did it again. Connally back in the game, 17-7, Nederland with the lead.
Our innermost desire is the force that inspires us to find outright delight. With any size icy cold Coca-Cola, soft drink, or sweet tea for just $1.
Well, tonight's playoff game is brought to you in part by 5 Point Credit Union, serving the entire Golden Triangle. 5 Point Credit Union, we've got money to loan. And by Lamar University, home to more than 14,000 students. Lamar University is one of the fastest growing universities in Texas and is a member of the Texas State University system. To find out more, find us on the web at lamar.edu. And by the Port Arthur News, serving the area since 1897 and simply second to none in local sports coverage. We've got a game again as we start our 4th quarter. Good news for the Bulldogs, they'll get it back, but now their lead down to 10 points. Again, a little pooch kick towards the sidelines, and it will go out of bounds. So not a mistake that the Cougars wanted to see for Coach Howard McMahon.
Heavy sigh. Why? It's been my pet peeve. It's only our 3rd game together. You have all the momentum. You have the wind at your back, and you try a pooch kick. Just kick it deep, try to flip the field position, get your team some momentum. Maybe you can make a big special teams hit, maybe force a fumble, but now you kick it out of bounds, and Nederland's back in their comfort zone, 1st down, in good field position.
I'm with you with that 15 to 20 mile-an-hour wind. Just kick it away, but if you are going to try the pooch, don't kick it out of bounds.
Wow.
Here come the Bulldogs back on offense. Their shutout attempt was denied on that 105-plus yard kickoff return by McDonald. So now Carson Raines and company will get back on offense. The last possession, the long touchdown pass to Barrow, gave them a big positive, and now it's Dial, the fullback, a surprise handoff, racing across the 40. He's wrapped up by Chris Luca and thrown down, but after a nice gainer on 1st down.
Dial's had a couple of nice carries in this ball game. Only came in with 12 rushing attempts on the season for 51 yards. He's had a couple of big gainers here tonight.
Well, the Cougars defense in that same spot they've been most of the night, trying to force a 3-and-out to get the football back. They've started this tradition, Ken, where their team does push-ups after a playoff victory. Everybody dropped down after the game last week. They did 5 push-ups, signifying they have 5 more wins to get to Arlington. Well, they're going to need to get the football back and score some points to do some more push-ups tonight. They're chasing Raines here, nearing a 1st down. He's got it. Nifty run on the sidelines and stepped out of bounds shy of midfield, but beyond the marker.
Yeah, good run that time. Got a nice block on the outside to help him pick up an extra 3 or 4 yards for the 1st down, so the change will move.
The Pickup of 7 on the play. Boy, he got the defense pursuing him one way. He went the other. Knew where that stick, the marker was, and then escorted to the bounds.
Finally have some life over here on the home sideline for Connally. They try to come up with a stop.
Hopkins tries to work through a hold that wasn't there. It was Daryl Sanjay, the linebacker, that rid Hopkins down after a pickup of a couple of yards, maybe 1 on the play.
And this defense for the Cougars, outside of that last drive where they gave up the big pass play, they've been pretty stout, keeping this Nederland offense intact.
Need to get the football back. We're inside 11 minutes now to go in the game, and Connally down 10 points. Bulldogs trying to work into Pflugerville territory, and there's a design run play from Rains, or at least a run play, but he was hit behind the line of scrimmage and wasn't able to get any positive yards.
Well, Connally, they confused him that time. They came with an inside blitz. You saw the inside linebacker fake it, then the outside linebacker comes right up the middle, forces the quarterback to run outside. Good lateral pursuit, drops him for no gain on the play. So it's going to be 3rd and long now for Nederland, and another big defensive opportunity for the Cougars.
Yeah, McDonald made that tackle. He was the man that took the kickoff back 105, 6, 7 yards. Able to make a nice play there. So 3rd and long, 3rd and 9. With 9 minutes plus to go here in this game. Going into the wind. Rains looking to throw, being chased. His pass was nearly intercepted. Cole Sneed got his hands on it. Just about jumped that route to make the catch.
Yeah, Sneed read that one perfectly. It's the 4-man rush this time as Rains rolls to his right. And Sneed jumps the route, nearly had a pick 6. Wow.
Like the pass was intended for self, but Sneed hits the highlight on that play, so the clock is stopped on 4th down, and now it'll prompt a punt. And Seth Barrow will kick, and it's McDonald, Ken, back again. You know he'd love another one, another chance.
You'd think he would.
We have another offsides on Connally, or was there a legal procedure? Flag down. Looks like procedure.
Yeah, it might be a false start this time. Go back the other way. I saw Sanjay come flying through. Thought he was offside one more time.
Keep in mind, Barrow will be punting into the wind here in this 4th quarter.
It's one of the first times in a long time they've gone into the wind, not since the first period.
So McDonald will back out of the way, and that one will take a Connally bounce. Needs to be touched, and finally is at the 37-yard line, and that's where the Cougars will have it back. So, Ken, it's now or never, I would imagine, for their offense.
Yeah, absolutely. They have some decent field position for once in this ball game out at their own 37-yard line. Have a little momentum on their side. Had a big 52-yard run from Peyton a couple of series ago, so we'll see if the big fella can dial up another one.
19-yard punt gives Peyton and company good field position. Playing without their quarterback, Deshaun Williams, all game long. Peyton with the bobble from this Wildcat formation, and boys, dragging a few tacklers. Will not be tackled. He's still on his feet into Nederland territory. It was Zach Taylor who saved an even bigger play, as is. It's a pickup of 15 yards on what looked to be maybe a gain of 3 or 4.
Peyton is running with a sense of authority now. You see the pulling guard coming up with the big block that time. That was big number 66. That was Rivera leading the way. And Peyton picking up a big 15 as he crosses midfield.
So some momentum now for the Pflugerville Connally Cougars. Peyton, why not? He'll run again. Another big gain, another first down as he carries to the 36-yard line. Gain of 11 or 12 yards on the play, so a couple of big runs for LaDadrix Payton, who's now probably up over 1,000 yards on the season.
Yeah, Payton again. Connally with 5 first downs. They're starting to get some yardage on their offensive side of the ledger.
Payton can get it done. Last week had 3 rushing touchdowns in just the first half against Montgomery. His pass there, that was not a good one. It was nearly picked by Zach Taylor. He was trying to tiptoe the sidelines. Yamthe was well beyond where the pass came down, but just when it looked like they had it going on the ground, they go to the air. Now it's a 2nd and 10.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that choice that time. Airing it out that deep, you have some good momentum going. Maybe stick with that short passing game, a little screen pass, a bubble screen. Not sure I want to trust Payton throwing it down the field.
1 for 9 through the air with 2 yards passing, although he's had a couple of drops. Just a simple running play, but you see him swallowed up by the heart of that white-shirted defensive line from the Bulldogs. No gain on the play, so now it's 3rd and long.
You know, and sometimes what coaches do, they'll almost outsmart themselves. You know, you have the running game going. Don't stop it yourself. Force the other team to stop you before you stop yourself. Now, again, you're in a 3rd and long situation.
0 of 9 of the Cougars on 3rd down. Probably, no doubt, a 2-down scenario here, but with this importance of this sequence, Pflugerville will call a timeout. 8:10 to play. 10-point lead for the Bulldogs. Back with a key play for the Cougars after this on the Legacy Sports Network.
We didn't always watch football here at Buffalo Wild Wings. Hey!
Ready for the big game? We can't wait.
You guys ever watched football on a vintage TV? 19 inches, black and white. Feel the raw emotion.
Awesome.
Protect the football. Watch every game here. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
Here we go, big 3rd and 10 for Payton and the Cougars. On the march in a Nederland territory, but down 10. There's a pass, it's caught, it's complete. And the ball was grabbed by Michael Igwagu. He's also a linebacker, but that time he looked like a wide receiver, finally making a catch downfield.
Wow, first time tonight that slant pattern has been open all evening long. Payton put it on the money again, and finally a receiver makes a catch and a big-time play.
22 yards, Kimler there to make the tackle, but now the Cougars in the red zone of Nederland. On the march, trying to close to within 3 if they could put this in the end zone. Maybe a busted play there, and Payton just fighting for his life. But how about that? Instead of a loss of 1, he stayed on his feet and squirmed forward for 2 or 3.
You talk about some determination from the senior running back. Watch this play. Nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. And it looked like he was gobbled up, as you mentioned, and he just fights his way for 2 or 3 yards.
A couple of Bulldogs trying to wrap him up around the helmet. That's not going to work with a stocky runner like Payton. Now it's 2nd and 8. They have maybe just a little bit of momentum through the air. Would Payton dare throw it again? We'll find out. He will not. The handoff goes to Sean Williams, and nothing there defensively. And you see the high fives for Caleb Malveaux, the defensive tackle.
How big is that missed field goal back in the 3rd period, that 31-yarder that just sailed wide right? We'd have a 1-score game right now.
3rd and 11. Connally has completed 1 3rd down and 10 tries tonight. So this has not been their forte, especially on 3rd and long. We'll see if Payton goes to the air. He'll look to throw. The pass is nearly intercepted. Bryce Whaley got it. I thought the Connally wide receiver stepped out of bounds. Had he caught it, might have been an interesting call. It was intended for McDonald.
Yeah, he had the inside receiver going on a slant post route. He went up top to the fade route. And again, it looks like the receiver may have stepped out of bounds, but nevertheless, the pass falls incomplete. So now they'll come on for another field goal attempt to try once again to make it a 1-score game.
32-yard try for Portillo. from the hold of Grubb. And the kick is good up on the roof for the Fieldhounds. So Portillo puts more points on the board. At one time, 17-0 Nederland. It's now 17-10. And you see the Cougars, their sideline, happy to be right back in this, a one-score game again.
Well, it all goes back to the huge 105-yard kickoff return by Edric McDonald when all the life was out of the Connally Cougars over here on the near sideline, down 17-zip. Looked like they were going into the fourth quarter, trailing by 3 scores. McDonald with the huge kickoff return for score. Defense comes up with a big possession. Then the offense comes up with a nice drive downfield, converts the field goal, and we have a ball game for this last 6.5 minutes.
9 plays, 50 yards. That field goal good from 32 yards. And you're right, that kickoff return provided them the boost. I was trying to set that up earlier, make that a storyline. McDonald finally delivered.
You've been working it the whole game, buddy. You've been working it the whole game.
You know, you always want to get those speed guys involved, but when you're really in need of a play, you put even more importance on it. McDonald was able to deliver, but now the Bulldogs have a chance to answer with a big special teams play of their own. Portillo might try and put this one through the back of the end zone. Boy, a tremendous boot that will indeed be downed by Zach Taylor. So, Nederland will have the football back. They're no stranger to agonizing area around playoff wins. It was last year. They won 21-14 over Stratford. It was a 2-overtime game. The fans would be hoping to avoid a 2-overtime game, but boy, the Cougars know as they get some life that if they can stop the Bulldogs, they can get the football back, have a chance to tie it up, and maybe force OT.
Well, they forced 2 turnovers so far in this ball game, so they're going to look to their defense to make another big play. Very important for Nederland now. Protect the football. Don't make any mistakes. Get it into your talented tailback, Kendrick Hopkins.
Because remember, again, Nederland going into the wind here in the fourth quarter. So it is indeed Hopkins with a head of steam, but boy, he was flipped immediately by Daryl Sanji after a pickup of a yard or 2.
He's very lucky to hold on to the football after a hit like that. He went sprawling to the turf.
So Sanji, again, one of this talented linebacking core for the Connally Cougars. They've been trying to track down Hopkins all night. He's carried the football 24 times for 140 yards. So it'll be a 2nd and 9, and everybody bunched up. Now a reverse. Here comes Michael Shaw, and he was tackled in the backfield.
What a great hit. Picking it up. It's Michael
Egwagu again.
Thank you. God bless you.
Well, he had the big catch, Ken, on the previous play. He had the big catch that set up the field goal. And now back on defense. An ankle tackle for a big loss. It'll be 3rd and 17.
He drops him for an 8-yard loss. Huge play coming up here. Now for the Cougar defense as the fans on the near sideline rise as one.
Been a tough night through 2.5 quarters for the Connally fans. Now they need a big stop to force the Bulldogs to punt into this win again. Carson Rains will hand off to Hopkins. Nothing fancy, not much running room. There at the bottom of the pile was Brandon Lee. The defense has held, and they'll get the football back with probably decent field position.
Well, all you want in a playoff game is an opportunity. Now you have it. Your defense has come up big time and time and time again. Your special teams has come up with a big play. Your offense came up with a big drive. Now all you need to do is close the deal, and your man, McDonald, is back near midfield.
Boy, if you're Barrow, do you put this punt anywhere near him? Do you give him a chance to make another play when their offense has him unable to do it?
It's going out of bounds.
So Barrow gets the punt away, but McDonald might be able to play this one on a bounce. And he does with a bobble. The sideline, though, is the friend of the Bulldogs.
Oh, boy.
And flags from every direction just as McDonald got across midfield. This one may be backed up.
Yeah, my goodness. Instead of having great field position across midfield, this is going to be backed up inside their own 40-yard line. So with 4:12 to go, they're going to be about 65 yards away from pay dirt 2 timeouts will remain for the Cougars, and it'll be up to Mr. Payton and company to make a play offensively. You see the block in the back there.
38-yard punt with a block in the back. And you're right, what could have been great field position for the Cougars in Nederland territory. And they will be backed up significantly from where they had hoped to start. Football will be placed at the 36-yard line, 4:12 to play. And the cheer squad from the Cougars hoping they can cheer a little more here in the fourth quarter.
You don't want to get too greedy too quick. You still have a lot of time. 4:12 and 2 timeouts. You can still afford to run the football, take advantage of Mr. Payton, who's been a bear here in this fourth quarter.
Tough to bring down and just runs into the pile for a couple of yards. Malveaux was one of those involved in the stop, but it seems like, Ken, what Payton was able to do on that last drive is at least put the element of the pass in the back of the Nederland defensive minds, because that wasn't a weapon for 3 quarters.
Absolutely. That big completion finally allowed that defense to loosen up. He really started to wear them down with those big runs as well, just carrying defenders.
After a pickup of 2, it's 2nd and 8. Payton will again maybe look to throw, although nothing there, and now he's going to be wrapped up and thrown down for a sack, and it was Deshaun Washington. He was involved early, now involved late, and he's going to force a 3rd and long for Connally.
Well, if there's a player that can go pound for pound with Payton, it's Washington. He goes 6'3", 275, so he has Payton for lunch back at the 30-yard line.
So a little bit of momentum for Pflugerville Connally, but after that loss of 4, it is 3rd and 8. 1 of 11 on 3rd downs are the Cougars, and again, just 2 pass completions tonight for Ledadrix Payton, who was the tailback before forced into quarterbacking action. Now throwing across his body. And that pass was nearly intercepted by Stampley. It's like the pass was intended for Leo Dawson, but out of his reach. And now the punting unit will have to come on with 2:49 to play.
Yeah, 2 timeouts. If you can get a 3 and out, you can still have another opportunity. He had a receiver, just couldn't get it there.
Dawson was beyond the marker, but the ball was beyond his reach, as you saw in that replay.
Good play by Stampley, dropping back in coverage, helping force the incompletion.
You need a big punt from Portillo, and he's got a big leg. And he will back up Zach Taylor inside his 20, and he made that fair catch, so he had no interest in trying to return, just to catch the football cleanly. Little scrum or little pushing and shoving after the dead ball, but a boot of 41 yards. I don't see a flag on the play, but it was some after the whistle shoving and pushing and such, and you don't need a penalty now with 2:39 to play.
Well, I think some good refereeing there. They don't want to take the game away from the players. You know, just let that one go. Let the players decide it on the field. 2:39 remaining in this one.
Well, our scoring summary, it was Nederland, a 49-yard field goal from Noel early in the game with a 3-0 lead. Carson Raines had a 2-yard touchdown run. That came in our 2nd quarter, made it 10-0. And then it was Nederland again scoring on a 64-yard pass play in our 3rd quarter, late in the 3rd quarter, 64 yards. That made it 17-0. And Ken, it looked like it was going to be all Bulldogs, but then that 107-yard punt return, kickoff return from McDonald, and a 32-yard field goal from Portillo got the Cougars back in.
So now this Cougar defense, they've been big all night. They're going to have to come up with another big play. They forced 2 turnovers. They need a 3rd.
I try and knock the ball loose. Try and dislodge it from Hopkins. Should he carry? He will carry. And ridden down hard after a short game, it was Daryl Sanji again. Boy, he's been a busy man here in the 2nd half.
Now you got to start using your timeouts. I'm always a fan. 1st down, 2nd down, go ahead and use your timeouts. That way you put the pressure on the defense on 3rd down, if it comes to that, to force them to make a decision on if they want to throw it in case you're in a 3rd and long situation.
Otherwise, we could be inside 2 minutes before the Bulldogs have to snap again here on 2nd and 9. Leading by 7 points, trying to run out the clock in advance to play Pearland Dawson. And it's Dial, the fullback, with a quick hitter off the right side of the line. This will set up That was Hopkins again, I beg your pardon. Hopkins with the carry, kind of swallowed up right in the middle of that line, but it'll bring up 3rd and long, and we do have a timeout, 1:50 to play. The Cougars need to stop when you come back on the Legacy Sports Network.
If safety is your goal, Fabinco is your gate. Fabinco, the world's leading manufacturer of self-closing safety gates.
Tonight's playoff game is brought to you in part by 5 Point Credit Union, serving the entire Golden Triangle. 5 Point Credit Union, we've got money to loan. And by Lamar University, home to more than 14,000 students. Lamar University is one of the fastest growing universities in Texas and is a member of the Texas State University system. To find out more, find us on the web at lamar.edu.
You saw Nederland rush to the line of scrimmage, and they tried to catch him off guard, so now they're going to take a timeout and talk about it on their sideline.
And our game is also brought to you by the Port Arthur News, serving the area since 1897 and simply second to none in local sports coverage. Well, I like that timeout. Why not? Because, in essence, this is the ball game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would put it in the hands of Hopkins. He's been your go-to guy all night long. The offensive line, for the most part, has blocked well. And even if you don't make it, you force Connally to use their final timeout.
1:56 to play. And right now, the Bulldogs trying to advance. Well, our director tonight is Matt Broussard, our coordinating producer, our statistician, our spotter extraordinaire, that's Michael Silvers, our executive producer, Gerald Sanchez. Scott Sullivan is our engineer, Jay Darneal down on the sidelines, Ken Moore and Brett Dolan with you here in the booth. Nederland right now 2 of 12 on 3rd downs, Ken, but they missed on 7 straight 3rd downs going back to the first half, and they have 3rd and 5 here. Range to throw. How about that? And the ball
oh boy,
knocked away,
wow.
But there's a flag. Well, the pass was up for grabs, intended for Deshaun Washington, who also fills in as a tight end. But you saw the flag come flying in late, and this could be the ball game.
Let's take a look at this one. I'm surprised that they went to the air, play action, under pressure. Man, it looks like that was a bang play. That was very, very close.
It was on Edric McDonald, who had the kickoff return earlier. That time, though, a little corner on the big tight end, who was a defensive tackle in his day job, and yet he gets the flag.
My goodness, that's a big call. We just talked about the refs, you know, letting that last one go when they had the little skirmish. They called a big penalty that may decide this one.
So now the Bulldogs will try and run out the clock. Full house backfield. And Hopkins has a first down as he races the ball right at midfield. So maybe taking some of the steam out of the Connally defense was Kendrick Hopkins, another big gainer tonight.
Yeah, they only have one timeout remaining. It'll be, see if they burn it here.
Runs good for a first down.
Right now it really doesn't matter. Even if they call that timeout, I don't think they can stop it again. And they're going to have to resort to trying to punch that football loose.
That was the biggest play of the ball game, that pass interference penalty. And it was a bang play.
Seen a lot of two-way players today, but it was Deshaun Washington interfered by McDonald that provided that first down. And there's another carry into the line for a gain of a yard.
Helmet goes flying.
And that's Sanji, I think, and he's getting up very slowly. And in fact has to take a knee, so Hopkins carried for a yard, but Sanji, probably the most active defensive player for the Cougars, is down, and his medical staff will come on as we're down to 1:16 to play in this game.
And again, Connally still at one timeout, so if they choose not to burn the timeout here after the injury, the clock will start on the 25-second play-in. So we'll have to decide what they're going to do here over on the near sideline. But A heck of a comeback here tonight by the Cougars as they continue to fight to stay in this ball game to the very last moment.
Down 10-0 at the half. It's the Pflugerville Connally Cougars team, 17-0 at one point. They've run off the last 10 points. They were hoping to get the football back. They had won 3 and out, in which they kicked to the Bulldogs. And then, of course, couldn't get the ball back for Peyton and company. You wonder how this game was impacted by DeJean Williams. It was in a big way in the first half. It felt like Peyton got things going in the second half, but we'll not know what could have been in that first half.
Yeah, absolutely. They had to play so conservative without him in the first half. It really took them, you know, a good 3 quarters really to get their offense on track.
We'll go inside a minute before the Bulldogs have to snap again. And Hopkins will carry for a handful of yards as he gets down to the 46 of Connally, and now a timeout will come with 52 seconds to play, and that will be the last time the Cougars can stop the clock.
That tackle was made by number 2.
So one more play, and they can probably run it down and have to call a timeout with 10 seconds or so, and then probably kick it away should they not get the first down here.
Yeah, it's going to be a situation where if you can stop them here, as you mentioned, you may be able to force a punt with under 10 seconds. And if you're Nederland, you just make sure it doesn't get into the hands of Mr. McDonald.
You don't want him to have a chance to make one more play. He made the big one in this game as far as the Cougars are concerned.
So an entertaining game here tonight. We had a little bit of everything, a couple of turnovers. We had some weather situations in the first half that played a factor, and a couple of missed field goals by both teams, and hard-fought ball game. 2 good ball clubs here tonight.
Last week we had 108 points between the Woodlands and Klein Collins. Tonight a defensive game from the outset. Cougars trying to make one more stop to at least have one more shot some way, somehow. 3rd and 6. Nothing fancy here. Hopkins will run, and he's got the first down, and that will do it. Just across the 40. That will move the sticks. And with 46 seconds to go, the Cougars will be helpless to stop the clock.
Well, when you're in a pinch, you go to your bell cow. And the bell cow for the entire season for the Nederland Bulldogs has been Kendrick Hopkins. Well over 1,500 yards now on the season. Came into tonight with 1,466. And as they go into victory formation, one more snap, and they'll be headed for a showdown in the 3rd round against Pearland Dawson.
Range just took a knee. Hopkins didn't get that carry. He did 31 times tonight for 171 yards, and while he did not score a touchdown, it was his efforts that has helped his Nederland team advance, and they will not have to snap the football again as the clock goes inside 9 seconds, and that will do it. At one time up 17 points, the Nederland Bulldogs will advance and defeat the Pflugerville Connally Cougars 17-10. I believe Jay Darneal already down there in the field. We'll wait for a second as he will try and grab us at interview, but you see the teams getting ready to shake hands after a very physical football game.
You know, and that's one of those moments, especially for the seniors of Connally, you know, that moment when you know that this is it. This is your final game as a high school senior, and you look at some of the efforts put forth tonight by some of these seniors. You look at Ladarius Payton stepping in at quarterback, you know, playing the Wildcat formation. You look at, you know, a lot of these guys on the defensive side of the ball that make big plays in this ball game tonight. So you really feel for those seniors as the finality of your career as a high school player comes to an end.
Always a tough moment, isn't it?
It is. It is. You see a couple of these players, you know, kind of out of our view now as we have the picture at midfield, but it's a heartbreaking ball game. It's one of those moments that you never forget. One of those times where, you know, maybe for some of these kids, their last time lacing them up in a football uniform.
Well, for Nederland, though, they'll look forward to next week, and I believe Jay has our star of the game down there on the field. Jay?
Thanks, guys. Joined by Kendrick Hopkins. Kendrick, 171 yards. Yeah, exactly. Against a pretty solid defense here. Did you expect that going in?
You know, you always got to expect the most different, you know. But yeah, I mean, with my offensive line, yes, I expect anything, but anything's unexpected. You never know what you're gonna have on the next play, but you got to keep fighting for yardage. You know, that's what we do.
Now, talk about Pearland Dawson, a very, very tight game last year, ended up with a loss. They ended your season. Little payback now here in the third round?
Oh, yes, I would love to get some revenge. So I'm more than motivated to play Pearland Dawson. So, I mean, they're number one on my hit list. Yes, sir, I'm ready.
Thanks for the time. We'll let you get back to coach there.
Thank you.
Guys, back up to you.
Oh, an honest answer. I like it. Wants that revenge. I don't blame you. I would too.
Bulletin board material.
Well, Nederland wins it 17-10 here at Woodforest Bank Stadium in the Woodlands. Ken and I will be back for our final thoughts of the Legacy Sports Network in a moment.
But better. Shell Federal Credit Union. Perfect credit not required. Shell Federal Credit Union. No matter where you work or live in Harris County, you're welcome here with full service banking. More for you at Shell FCU. Banking, but better. Shell Federal Credit Union.
How about an ale? Bigger. No, bigger still. Ah, it's good to be king. This fall, experience king-size dining, shopping, merriment, and more at the Texas Renaissance Festival. Discount tickets are on sale now at Randall's, Walgreens, Woodforest National Bank, and online at TexRenFest.com. The Texas Renaissance Festival. Choose your own adventure.
Back here in the Woodlands, Brett Dolan and Ken Moore after a hard-fought 17-10 win by Nederland. We teased it at the end of the game, Ken. It was a physical game. It was a game that looked like Nederland might run away at one point in the third quarter, but kind of an exciting finish.
Yeah, you have to give Connally a lot of credit. Down 17-0, fighting their way back into this ball game tonight. Showed a lot of grit, heart, determination. You really have to feel for those seniors, but very important for the Bulldogs. They get to move on to the next round.
We heard from Kendrick Hopkins in the postgame show. What a busy man. And while he did not score, Raines had the short little touchdown run. There was also the long pass to Barrow. It was what he was able to do to move the sticks and advance the football that gave the Bulldogs a great chance to win and a victory tonight.
Well, you talk about that last drive, a couple of key conversions on third down to keep the chains moving, keep the clock rolling, and not give Connally an opportunity to go back for a potential tying score.
As far as Nederland is concerned, they will advance now 11-1 in the year. And, of course, they'll have a rematch next week against Pearland Dawson. We don't know where that football game will be played. You heard Hopkins, though. He wants revenge. I'm sure it's going to be a fun week. Back with a full week, no holiday, a chance to prepare for another playoff game, and that should be a great one.
That should be a rock'em sock'em battle. You got an offensive ball club in Dawson that likes to put up a lot of points. You got a defensive team in Nederland that likes to stop a lot of points, so it should be a heck of a battle next week in round 3.
Indeed. We had a great one tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Again, for Ken Moore, Jay Darneal, and our entire staff, thanks for watching. 17-10 Nederland wins and advances. Good night, everyone, on the Legacy Sports Network.